Okay. This is episode 86 of the OnlyMans podcast, yeah? Big up to everyone that tunes in each and every week. Make sure you go to that YouTube, subscribe to that. It's right at the top of the page if you're listening on the stereo app. If not, you can go right onto YouTube, type in OnlyMans, one word, and it's going to come up in the same logo. Alright, we here. I'm riding solo again this pod. You know what I mean? I'm going to do a round of applause for my guy, Will. Always big love to my guy, Will. You know what I mean? But I'm doing this one solo this week. You know what I mean? So we're going to get into some stuff. We're going to talk about some things. You know what I mean? It would be really dope for if we could have an episode like last week where the people just leaving voice notes like mad, bro. Like people just going crazy and shit. Then like we'll try and get into some of that sort of stuff. But if not, I'm going to just talk a little bit. You know what I mean? Get into some things and then we'll see where the episode takes us. So again, this is episode 86 of the OnlyMans podcast. Yeah. And man are back here once again. What do I want to talk about? What do I want to start with? Again, it's 2023. Big up to everybody that's here listening. Made it into the new year, or at least the new year. The calendar says at least anyway. Do you know what I mean? But big up to everyone that's locked in and that. We appreciate you. I see a couple of people got into YouTube subscribing to that as well. You know what I mean? Big love to you. You know what I mean? What am I going to start with? I'm going to start with Harry Windsor, Prince Harry. What we call him? I'm going to start with him. He released a book. The book's called Spare. In the book, he talks about a number of things from like his marriage, you know, like his mum dying, being born into like the British monarchy, you know, some of the trials and tribulations that come with that, his time serving in the army, a whole bunch of stuff. Now, I haven't read his book. And I'm not going to give you the impression that I've read his book because I haven't read his book. But there's like an online trend going on of like excerpts being like read. Like people are just reading excerpts from the book and that. And it's just like the most random information, bro. It's like the most random little tidbits and that. It's like there's one where he's talking about like his penis chafing or something, and he used the cream that his mum used on her lips, and the smell of the cream made it seem like his mum was in the room while he was rubbing this cream on his penis to stop it from chafing. Like just some mad excerpts in it. And I think that Harry is suffering from someone not telling him to shut the fuck up, itis. And what I mean is, obviously, you know, him and his wife, Meghan Markle, have been in the news a lot. Obviously, there's been a lot of, like, race things, you know, like their family being kind of racist to them, the press having, like, a bias against his wife, like, all that sort of stuff. And from him and Meghan doing, like, the Oprah Winfrey interviews and, you know, the other interviews they've done and stuff, like, they've spoken about it, you know, at some sort of length to sort of get their side across and say, you know, this is kind of how we've been treated. This is like how we've been mistreated, I should say. And where I do think that that's important, like I do think that's important in it. I do think that it's important to speak on mistreatment, to give education for other people, just so one, they can be aware, and two, you can check your own thing in it. But like, I think what's happening now is it's like a one-hit wonder, yeah, like a rapper or a singer or so. It's like a one-hit wonder. Like, I won't say any names, but like someone who just has one big hit, yeah, and they're doing shows and stuff, and it's like really the crowd only came to hear this song. And they love it while they love it because this is the track, but after a while, that one song starts to get stale. But it's like if you're still going around just performing this same track over and over again, at some point people will be like, all right, bro, like we over this track now, like we over this, like what's your next one, bro? Like there's bare other tracks that have come out, like what's your next one? And I feel like with Harry, it's like a similar thing. It's like I feel like he's speaking about this thing too much. Like I'm a black guy, I'm a black nigga, you know what I mean? Like I speak on race and all these sort of things all the time. Yeah, like I've been accused of being a black supremacist. I've been accused of turning this platform into a platform to bash and blame white people for all the world's problems. Like I've been accused of all them sort of things, isn't it? So this might be fresh coming from me, but I just think that anytime we hear him speak or speak publicly, it's about this. You know what? It's the same feeling as this might be like a slight left field. Yeah. One sec. It gives me the same feeling as for anyone who's like a rap fan, a hip hop fan, like anything like that. There was a rap collective, like a rap group called Slaughterhouse that featured Joe Budden, the rapper. Obviously now he's a podcaster and stuff, but Joe Budden when he was a rapper, Royce the 5'9", who's still an active rapper, Crooked Eye, who's still an active rapper, and Joel Ortiz, that's still an active rapper. They were signed to they were signed to Eminem's label, Shady Records. Obviously, Slim Shady Eminem, Shady Records. And basically, they didn't have a great time business-wise over there. There was a lot of like conflicts, you know, a lot of different members of the group wanted to do different things. Like it was stuff like that. And sorry, one sec. Right. So yeah, it was like basically a thing of that the band eventually didn't. The band, I'm calling them the band. They'll hate that shit. The group eventually ended up not splitting up, but they just didn't release music for like a really long time because just the conflicts of business and, you know, not being able to get stuff right and that. And obviously Joe Budden went into podcasting, you know, people started doing other stuff. And recently, I think it was like a year or so ago, maybe just under, but Crooked Eye and Joel Ortiz, they released like an album called The Rise and Fall of Slaughterhouse in it. And the whole thing, they were basically, the way that they marketed in that, it was like, yo, Slaughterhouse is dead. Like, we're done with Slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse is over now. And there was a bit of like tension about that because Royce the 5'9", who's the other member, he always said like he was always down to do Slaughterhouse stuff. But the problem was that Joe Budden obviously found a lot of success in podcasting and he publicly has retired from rapping. He's like, I'm retired. I don't rap anymore. I'm a podcaster now. And the whole thing, the way that Joel Ortiz and Crooked Eye describe it is like basically Joe didn't want to rap and we were being held up all these years because he didn't want to rap. And so why are we being held up because he don't want to rap? Fine, he don't want to rap. And Royce the 5'9", his thing was like, bro, I'm not doing this unless we all hear. I don't care if it's Joe. I don't care if it's Joel's. I don't care if it's Crooked Eye. Like, if we ain't all here, I'm not doing it. So Joel and Crooked Eye basically were like, well, not fuck you, man, but like you man are doing that. Say nothing. Then it's done in it. We ending this shit. And there was tension around, there's a lot of tension around that between, it essentially turned into like Crooked Eye and Joel Ortiz versus Joe Budden and Royce the 5'9". Royce the 5'9's whole point was like, bro, how can you kill off this thing when I'm like a part of this thing? Like, you didn't tell me you was going to do this. You didn't tell me this shit was dead. Like, how can I try and say I want to sell somebody, it was an example he gave. I want to sell somebody a Slaughterhouse t-shirt or sell them something about Slaughterhouse. Like, we're going to try to redo it. How can I do that if you've killed off the brand? Like, you didn't give me no warning. You didn't tell me. You just did this shit. Like, what kind of shit is that? Joel and Crooked Eye, their whole thing is like, yo, we've been telling you, man, for years that we want to rap. You, man, are holding this shit up, holding the show. We ain't waiting no more. You, man, don't want to rap. We'll just kill off the thing and do something else. Joe Budden's whole thing was, from what he said, I am cool to rap with you lot, but I'm not signing no dickhead deal, bro. Like, whatever situation we get, to make us do something has to be proper. I'm not signing no dickhead deals, bro. Like I've become too successful to sign stupidness. So if we're gonna do so, we have to do it properly. And that was interpreted on Crooked Eye and Joel's side, from what I understand, as like Joe is always turning down business. He always says the business isn't good enough or something's not right with the contract. So like almost like he had unrealistic expectations of shit. And the reason I bring that up is to say, for like the last, well, not up till now, this may be stopped around like September time, but for like a good 6-7 month period, you would just see a lot of videos of Crooked Eye and Joel Ortiz on podcasts, and the main thing they'll be talking about is this shit. About why they did it, and you know, Joe this and Royce that and whatever, like. And what I started to get sick of, because like once you've heard their point of view and heard where they're coming from, it's like, whether you agree, disagree, I can understand. But it's like after so many weeks and months, it's like, bro, I don't give a fuck about this anymore. Like you keep doing new podcasts, like you've said everything that you need to say about this shit. There's nothing else to say about it. You lot have all gone on live and argued on live. You've done lives, Instagram lives. This is like, you've gone live on Instagram. He's gone live on Instagram. He's got like, everyone's done their lives. People have spoken about it on podcast. People have been brought onto other people's podcasts to speak about, like, all of that has happened in it. And after a certain amount of time, it's like, why do you keep doing new podcasts but saying the same shit? Like, we heard you already. It's like you're almost whoring this thing out just to keep your traction going. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're going to do podcasts now, bro, like talk about something else. Talk about what you've got going on. Stop talking about this beef, because Joe decided months ago he's not talking about it anymore. Royce has said his piece and he's moved on from it. Like, why do you niggas keep talking about this shit? And that's what I feel has happened to Prince Harry, or to Harry, whatever he go by now. I feel like, or I think that he's spoken about this so much and so often. He's gone on so many different platforms with the world watching, you know, so many different, you know, numerous things, and like he'll talk about the stuff. But what I don't like here, what I don't like is, like, man, are almost talking in code. You know how, like, sometimes I'll get on the podcast and I'll speak about certain things, but maybe not speak about it in great depth and da-da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, if you listen to that and you be like, yo, Drizz, like, just say what it is, bro. Just like, come on, bro, just say what the thing is in it. Then I'd understand that. But I try to, when I give those stories and stuff, or like those partial stories, I try to give it in a way where these are the basic details you need, but this is the point of me saying it. Like, without getting into like the messy, gossipy tea elements of it, you know what I mean? Like, I still try and give you the meat and potatoes, as they say. With a lot of like the Harry stuff, like, I've realised, for myself anyway, I think that he mentioned something about somebody in the royal family saying that his son was too dark, like his son's skin was too dark. And he's alluded to that many times, like, oh, someone said this. But it's like, my nigga, if you're not going to tell us who said it, if you're not going to say, yo, this pussy-o said this to me, bro, and make that person face like what happened, then it's like, stop bringing it up. I get the first time, even the second time. At stretch, I understand the third time of bringing it up. I get it. But then the fourth, fifth, and sixth, like, if you're not going to tell us what it is, then what are we doing, bro? Like, in a police investigation, right? Like, if you're getting interrogated and questioned about a crime and stuff, and you just start making shit up and telling the police just random shit, you know, that's a charge. Perverting the course of justice, fam. If you just get in there and just start telling them shit but not really telling them shit, bro, they can charge you with that shit, bro. You know what I mean? And it's like, I kind of just think with the Harry thing, it's like, bro, either really give it up, either really talk the things and say what happened, bro. Name and shame, bro. Put a name on the bullet. This person said this to me, or this person said this to my wife. I feel like at this point now, you either have to say that or just stop talking about it. Like, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is the point of it all? And it brings me to a greater point, thinking about all the things that Harry's spoken about his own unconscious bias and da-da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da-da. If we tell him the truth, bro, I feel like Harry's a rich kid. I think that. One thing, I was watching a Kevin Samuels video the other day, innit? And he had said to this guy, because the guy kept saying, well, I feel like, and he kept saying like, yo, feel is like, that's a woman thing, bro. Like, that's a feminine, like, you coming to me trying to have a constructive argument, you telling me how you feel, bro. Like, feelings shouldn't take any part. And where I don't wholeheartedly agree with that, I do think there's a bit of value in that. So I'm trying to stop saying that I feel and start to say more that I think. Because sometimes I don't always feel the things that I think, and I don't always think the things that I feel, you know what I mean? But I think that Harry is a rich kid that come from money, that's had somewhat of a sheltered environment, even though sheltered environments come with their own trauma, because I think a lot of times that gets like discounted. Like, people don't really count that. It's like, oh, well, you came from money, so like, what problem do you have in life? But it's like, actually, a lot of people that come from money, there's a whole other side of trauma that they get, you know what I mean? But anyway, I think that he come from money, but he always kind of sorry, I'm just thinking, I potentially might talk about Freddie Mercury on this podcast. I haven't decided yet, but long story short, I watched Bohemian Rhapsody with my girl like a week or so ago, bro. And I've been like obsessed with Man Fam like since then, like musically, bro. Like, I go through these phases when I hear like music that I've not really deeped like that before. I go through these phases of just being like musically obsessed with somebody, like trying to figure out all the techniques of what they do and how they do it and shit. I might speak about Freddie Mercury a bit in this pod, but I might not. The reason I bring that up is to say I was watching something on Netflix. It's like a psychiatrist guy, and he does something where he essentially, like, people that have died, he like assesses their brain and then tells you about who they were or some bullshit. It's just like some show that's basically just like a documentary about a particular person. I can't remember the name of the show, but it's got like, I saw there were 2 episodes. One was Freddie Mercury and one was Michael Jackson in it. And we watched the Freddie Mercury because obviously Bohemian Rhapsody in that. And the psychiatrist guy spoke about in that, like, you know, and it's kind of elementary when you think about it, but it's like if you at a young age as a child experience some kind of separation, some sort of traumatic separation from like a parent or parents, or, you know, your kind of foundation is uprooted in a sense, it has an effect on how your brain develops and grows. It has an effect, like those sort of things stick and become character traits and that. I think that Harry was a rich kid who was born into a life where his mum and his dad didn't get along for their own thing that he wouldn't have understood as a kid. He loved his mum, he loved his dad. Whenever he was with his mum, it was always, you know, these paparazzi, the pictures and this and that and hustle and bustle. And he kind of, from what we can gather, it does seem like, you know, look, boys and their mums in it, sons and their mums, like, as a son of a mother, like, it's a very powerful bond. And your mum being killed in a car accident because she's being chased by paparazzi, and you just never get to see her again. And then you've already got some sort of an estranged relationship, like with your father figure who comes from this whole thing. It's like, he seems to me like a kid who lost a parent really young, and so had a very conflicted relationship with a remaining parent who's grown up, found somebody, somebody who doesn't fit the mold of maybe their family, and has begun to encounter problems that he never really realized were problems before. In the sense, he speaks a lot about like unconscious bias and stuff like that, and it's like it's like white friends that I've had in it, where you'll be out with like your white brethren and shit, and you go into a shop, and then the security guard, so say it's like you or like me, my white brethren and my black brethren, like the security guard will follow me or my black brethren, they won't follow the white brethren. Little microaggressions like that, like where if we in a whip or certain, or even like some Fed shit, like the Feds are they'll bother me and my other brethren before they bother my white brethren. You know, like the stop and search stuff, like they're gonna talk to us before they talk to him. Do you know what I mean? And he'll be dealt with just like a whole different way. It's institutionalized shit in it, but it's like him being born into what he was born into, where everything is just white people everywhere, bro. That's the norm. And then he get with this girl who, in comparison to the black community, she's like the whitest black woman that you'll come across. Meghan Markle. She's like the whitest black woman. She is fair skin as fuck, bro. Like, she don't she don't listen to Meg Thee Stallion and shit. You know what I mean? She don't got the long nails, and like, what I mean is, that's so funny, but what I mean is, like, culturally speaking, she's not what you would call quote unquote black. But yet, the smidget of black that she has makes her like Kunta Kente in his world. Makes her like a nappy-headed African slave that escaped from the plantation in his world. Do you get what I mean? And like him just speaking about how there are so many biases and so many just things that he didn't even realize about himself. And it's like, well, yeah, you wouldn't realize that shit because you're a rich white kid surrounded by white people and whiteness. It's not even just the white people, it's the whiteness, bro. Because, like, there are communities filled with white people and shit where they they don't come from, like, riches and this and that and da-da-da-da-da. They, like, you know what I mean? Come on, England! Like, the pub goers from, like, and not all the pub goers, but you know what I mean? But it's just, my ultimate point, I just think that Harry's talking about this shit too much. I'm not mad at him talking because he's been cut off from his money. He got to get bread and shit, you know what I mean? He got to feed his family and all that sort of thing. I'm not mad at him doing things for bread because I know all of these interviews, they're charging for them. I know they're charging bread for all of these shits in it. But it's like, find a way to not just talk about this. So even if like a different platform, whatever, come to you and be like, yo, listen, Harry, we want to talk to you about shit, we'll pay you this to do it. Alright, cool. But you have to find a way to not just have the interview be about that. Get something else to get us interested in. Do you get what I mean? Like, get something else to get us interested in. Because really, what it seems like he's trying to do now is like, yeah, I'm taking a stand, but I'm not gonna call my family out though. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? Nah. Like, I love them and it's cool and it's peace and it's not a beef thing, but it's like he almost trying to appease the two sides now, and it's just the PR of it is just like, ugh, come on, bro, man. Like, just do better than that. Do you know what I mean? Do better than that, because, and it's easy to say. That's why I don't want to like talk no mad shit about him. But it's easy to say, but it's just like, if you're gonna take a stand against some shit, then take a stand against some shit. You know what I mean? But like, if you're just gonna halfway do it and try and appease all the sides and this and that and the third, then it's kind of like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I kind of get it, like trying to make a message digestible just so people won't just turn off from it. But sometimes that ain't what you need, bro. Sometimes you just gotta say the shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? No, let me go from saying how Harry don't say the full thing, and you know what I mean. And keeps talking about the same shit. Let me go from that to not saying the full thing and talking about the same shit. Yeah, but when we had the white boy on the podcast, bro, and we would try to have these discussions, this was the issue, and I would just say the shit for what it is. without the nuance and the this and the that and the, well, you have to understand that, you know what I mean? I would just be like, yo, you see white people, yeah? And then just go from, and man accused me of all sorts of shit, you know what I mean? And took objection to that, which is his right, to object to shit, but it's just like, I think one thing that white people have to get over is that their feelings matter in a discussion of race. And that sounds really harsh. And that sounds really like you don't matter. And, well, what if a white guy said that to a black guy? Like, what? How unfair is it that you can... Okay, but what you have to understand is that there's like an integrated, passed on, multi-generational, societal imprint and design created where our skin color lives in direct conflict and opposition with your skin color while also being completely embedded and ingratiated in it. And what I mean is, like, it's very similar to Neo and Mr. Smith in The Matrix. It's like the two forces ultimately oppose one another when the shit gets down to it. Like, because there was the meeting where Mr. Anderson was interviewing Neo before he woke up properly, and like, he didn't fuck him up and shoot him and shit. They were just talking and playing the game and that. But it's like, when the shit hit the fan, like, we gonna beef. And that's kind of the dynamic that exists between black and white people, generally speaking. Which is mad, because really, and I've heard this said many times, and I believe in it wholeheartedly, but like, black people do not hate white people. I'm gonna say that again for the slow people in the back. The slow people in the black. I'm gonna say it again for the slow people in the back. Black people do not hate white people. We don't hate them. You know how many white bitches niggas fuck, bro? And oppositely, do you know how many white bitches fuck niggas, bro? Like, and you know how many black girls fuck white boys from? Like, do you get what I mean? It's like, we don't hate you because we embrace you. The example I always give you, if you the only white boy living in ends, the hood, bro, black area, you the only white boy and the only white family there, bro. Man them will not fuck with you because you the only white boy that lives there. Man them won't do that. Man them might fuck with you. They might fuck with you, but that won't be the reason why. They might fuck with you because they think you soft. They might fuck with you because, oh shit, like, he white, he got bare more shit than me, like, he richer than me, like, he like, you know what I mean? Like, the sole basis will not be because of the color of your skin. That's, black people don't exist like that. In fact, more often than not, what will happen is, if you the only white boy in the ends and you cool, niggas will embrace you because you the only white boy in the ends. He our white boy. Like, that's our white boy. Do you know what I mean? Like, he fuck with the man, them, and you're a white boy. Like, the man, them will embrace you. Flip the script now. If you the only black guy in a predominantly white neighborhood, bro, everyone else is white, bro, and you the only black guy, the only black family in this white community, this white neighborhood, it's almost 99% guaranteed that at some point in time you will be fucked with on the sole basis that you're the only black family there. You and your neighbor can have so much shit in common, but a lot of time, bro, like, and history dictates it. I'm not saying it's everywhere and all the time. I'm not saying that. But a lot of the time, bro, you'll be fucked with on the sole basis that you're the only black family. Because racism is designed that way, man. You get what I mean? One sec. You know what? I should find a way to get that hold music in it. The elevator music. Elevator music. Yeah, that shit was live. Yeah, in case I want to fucking, like, just take a break or something, you know what I mean? Like, because YouTube didn't flag it the last time, so I don't mind that, you know what I mean? But, like, yeah, man, it's so crazy, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just so crazy how the whole construct is designed and shit. And we just here, man. We just here. We just live with the legacy of that. which is why, again, a lot of people, especially, you know, white people in the modern era, like, they don't really want to hear that shit. Because it's like, well, that happened so many years ago. Like, I didn't do that. Like, I'm not. And it's like, yeah, you might not have literally been there, but you live with the legacy of that shit the same way I live with the legacy of that shit. You know what I mean? We both, like, we live with what happened, and it's not our fault, but we hear, you know? So it's just one of those sort of things, man. And, like, I think if white people want to help, if white people want to help in that sort of sense, like, I would say the best thing you can do is just listen. And even if there's some shit you agree with, before you voice your disagreement, just listen. It's like being in a relationship, innit? It's like, say you got a girl and that, and you go wilding out and she bugging and da-da-da, but she a good girl, but she bugging and she wilding out. Rather than just reacting to what she's doing and stuff, try to dig deep to the reason why she's bugging out. Like, all right, talk to me, innit? Because even if you say some shit that I think is dumb, I need to understand why you're acting the way you're acting. Because I don't understand why you're being this way, I can't help in any way. I'm just going to react how I react, and then nothing gets done that way. You know what I mean? So yeah, white people, if you want to help, just listen. Just listen and try to understand wholeheartedly and genuinely. There's nothing worse than like a pandering white person, or a white person who almost is like, oh, poor you, you're black and you've been through so much. Like, almost like they pity you sort of thing. Like, there's nothing worse than that. Do you get what I mean? If you want to help, just put yourself in the shoes of someone speaking to you, and rather than telling them why they might be fucking bugging out or whatever, try to hear them, try to understand where they're coming from and shit. Do you know what I mean? But maybe that's a lofty hope, you know. I saw someone discuss Kim Kardashian having North, the daughter of Kim Kardashian, and Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West, on TikTok, basically dressed up as him, like, while she was in the video and stuff. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. Like, I'm not quite sure how I think. In fact, no, actually, I take that back. I am sure how I feel about it. I actually don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. It's just news cycle stuff. But one sec. See, this is where. Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on. Oh, damn it. I was gonna put the fucking the elevator music on, but I don't know where that shit is. Yeah, I don't know where that shit is. I'm not gonna do it now because it's like it's ruined the moment in it. But it's like, yeah, I just think if you're co-parenting a child, man, any sort of, especially if it's like a rocky situation between the two parents, any kind of interaction or mention of the other parent should always be in benefit to the child. I heard people say, well, she dressed up as her dad and she loves her dad and it's fine. But it's like, yeah, but at the same time, like, don't Kim Kardashian have certain legal rights where she's not allowing him to see his kid? Like, hasn't Ye come out plenty of times and said, like, yo, I can't see my child, I can't get in contact with my child, they've kidnapped my child in broad daylight. Like, plenty of times he said that shit. And it's almost like antagonistic in a sense. It's almost like, nah, you can't get your kid sort of thing. And I just think, but then, you know what, as I'm saying that, hold on, all right, perfect timing, hold on. All right, and we back. You know, I make some noise for that. I want to see how that sounds in the edit. I'm about to get out of on YouTube, but it's fine. But it's like, as I say that, you know, there's an old saying, if you lay down with pigs, you're gonna get muddy. And yeah, got into bed with people who have proven that nothing is off limits, bro. Kris Jenner prostituted her own daughter in order to make like a multi-million billion-dollar empire. Like really deep that. Like a mother facilitated not only sexual intercourse for her daughter, but the recording of that sexual intercourse, the production of that as a feature-length adult film, and the release of it, bro. Her own daughter. A lot of mums I know, bro, like, again, my mum is Jamaican growing up, do you know what I mean? I said that like an African Jamaican. I said that like my Zimbabwe brother Will. Shout out to Will yet again. Anytime I would mention Will, I'm going to give him air horns with it. But nah, my mum is Jamaican in it, so like, that sort of thing was never like that can't run. Like, my little sister says she got from man over and what? Nah, that can't run, bro. Like, not even a little bit. So the fact that this woman not only was like, yeah, these niggas raw dicking you out, but you know what? Actually, film that shit. Are we gonna sell that shit? Like, we gonna sell your porno? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a wild concept to really think about. You know what I mean? And once you realize that you're dealing with a family with that level of degeneration and detachment from shit, like, if she will sell her own daughter into sexual slavery, essentially, and I know it's not that deep, but just for the sake of what I'm saying, if she'll sell her own daughter into sex and the sex trade, what makes you think that she's gonna look after you or your light-skinned black daughter? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, in the same way, Kim grew up with a mother who was willing to do that to her. That imprints on you. So now you have to think, well, what is she going to be willing to do to her daughter? You know what I mean? I've seen Ye cry on stages talking about, I'm working this hard so my daughter don't have to ever pose in no Playboy, so my daughter don't have to leak no nudes on the internet. Like, I'm doing all of this so she doesn't ever have to live that way. And so it's just kind of, when you put all of those things in the contrast, it's like, what I'm saying is, if I'm in a custody battle for my kid, yeah, where I can't see my kid custody-wise and legally, and then you're posting videos of my kid dressed up as me while you're dancing in the background, and this is someone who's supposed to have like a history of mental illness and can be triggered by things, it almost seems like they're trying to goad him into going off again. Because remember, Ye's been quiet for like a month, you know. After all, like the Jewish media stuff and the quote unquote anti-Semitic stuff and the Hitler stuff, and then after all of that, he's been quiet for like a month. He's not made no noise, and it almost weirdly feels like a draw out. You know what I mean? It almost really feels like she's trying to draw this nigga out, and it's like, do you know what I mean? But nah, it's, you know what, man, this whole shit is just so fucked. Like, we just so lost in this thing that we in and this thing that we do. Like, even for myself, when I think about it, it's like the majority of my life I spend looking at screens. Even a lot of the business stuff that I have to do, like, I've got my own company, well, companies, and it's like a lot of the stuff I have to do just involves me looking at screens. Like, my day-to-day sort of job that helps cover bills and stuff, it's like looking at screens, and then from that, going in my free time, going in the studio, looking at screens. In the interim time, out on my phone playing a game or whatever app or whatever, looking at screens. And it's like, so much time of the day spent just looking at screens. Like, right now I have 3 screens in front of me. Do you know what I mean? And it's such a normal part of life now. But I remember, like, I say this to my girl a lot, but it's like, my generation, I really feel like, we're the last generation to grow up before all of this shit. And yes, we had the screens then, the TV, and like, we had all of that, but the accessibility now. Now you've got like the smartphones, you've got tablets, you know, iPad, iPhone, like all these sort of things. Like everything is just so integrated into life. Like bro, one thing that blew my mind when I found out about it was that kids do all their homework online now. That, and again, this is like a couple years back when I first found this out, but that baffed my head. Because I'm, bro, in school, like primary school, high school, and that, like, you got sent home with homework on paper that you had to write on and bring back into school. We had like book bags and that, and you had to bring your homework back in. I come from the era where we had like jotters, where it was literally just a book, and like, say, your English class or something, you'd have like your proper English book that you do your work in. And then you'd have your jotter, and your jotter is just to make notes in and just da-da-da-da-da. Like, I come from the age where, like, teachers would talk to the class and you have to make notes, bro. Like, write shit out and say to the teacher, like, oh, can you just say that again? Like, and the teacher might be like, all right, everyone write this down, yeah? Like, and you'd write all your notes in your jotter. And then when you come to do, like, actual work or assignments, you do that in the proper book in it. And it's like, I'm from that era where that was just normal. The people before me did that. People after me did that. Like, that was just normal. And so when I like found, because even IT, bro, like I remember being in high school, and we did IT from like year 7 to year 11. So that's like what, 12, 13 to like, well, 12 to like 16. And like IT literally was like, the teacher would teach you how to make a PowerPoint presentation, or how to work Excel, Microsoft Excel, or how to like make a Word document, like simple shit. It was just like how to use these different programs and stuff, which came in handy. I'm not saying it didn't, but it's like, I remember when I was in year 10 and year 11, because IT was like one of the mandatory things you had to do. So at that point, you pick your GCSEs and you're able to like select the subjects you want to do. But the mandatory ones were like English, math, science, IT, religious studies. I want to say was mandatory because, yeah, the church I went to was like a Church of England school. It wasn't mad churchy, but it was under that banner. So religious studies was like one of the mandatory things. What else was there? DT, which stands for Design Technology. So there was DT Food, where they will basically like teach you to cook, and then DT Design, where they teach you to like do shit in wood shop and that, and like sew clothes and stuff like that. And I remember in the IT class, the IT teacher we had, that motherfucker, I would say that pussy nigga name. His name was like Mr. Ramos or Mr. Ramosh or something like that. And he, when I think about it now, I'm not even trying to be fucked up when I say it, but he gave mad pedo vibes, bro. And what I mean by that is like, he was just like this creepy old, like, balding man, kind of like skinny, but not mad skinny, but just like kind of like, he, it's like that kind of a guy who would like walk around the school in like socks and slippers and shit. And he would just be way too friendly with the high school girls. And again, I remember them times there, bro, like, girl, them, you know what I mean? They trying to show off what they got. They trying to, so, you know, I'm not even going to say too many names and shit, but like, there were just a couple girls in my year, but like, when they started to blossom, let's say, like, they were really trying to let the world know that they blossoming into their womanhood, like, they weren't being shy about it. Like, the tightest tops, the tightest bottoms, they were trying to really show that shit in it. And so, like, this teacher that I had, he was just way too friendly with the teenage gal in it. He was just way too friendly with them. Like, he was just way too, always wanted to chat to them. And like, oh, Laura, just stay behind for a minute. I just want to talk to you about your work. Like, he was just way too on them. You know what I mean? And nothing came out about him. Like, there was nothing that ever came out to say he did any fuck shit. But just being, like, in school and, like, being there, It's like, yeah, bro, he creeping on these little gal with their titties and shit, bro. The high school gal that are trying to show up their little titties and stuff like that. Like he creeping on them. He a nasty man, bro. But anyway, in the IT class, I remember we literally, like the GCSE year, he spent the whole year just telling us all what to do. And he came to the class. I remember he came to the class and he was like, yo, listen, yeah. The assignment is that you have to build like a web page. That's the assignment. But I'm not gonna waste my time going around the class and helping everybody do their shit and you fall behind and this person fall behind. Like, the teachers get marked on their pass grades and stuff. So the whole year, I'm gonna tell you all what to do. There are gonna be little bits where you can design it yourself and that, but I'm gonna tell you all what to do. And at the end of the year, everybody should be straight. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of. I'll say this. He definitely was some sort of a creep. But he's the sort of guy, like, if it wasn't for that creepy shit with the teenage girls and that, he'd be that sort of teacher where at first you'd be like, fuck this guy. But if you ever had a reason to have to be in contact with him about something, you realize, like, oh, he kind of gets shit, you know what I mean? He definitely was like seeming like he wanted to be an off the grid type of guy. But his thing was just like, no bullshit in it. It's like, just don't bullshit in my class. Obviously, some of the young G's, we try to go to his class and fucking piss about and fuck about and shit, and he just wasn't on it, bro. Especially the young black niggas, bro. Any young black youth, like, especially the guys, like, any young black youth in the class, you fuck about, like, get out of my classroom! Like, you didn't fuck about in it, like, the girls and shit, because you know, like, the girls start talking and whispering and giggling and shit. Like, he'd be very much like, ladies, can you quiet down, please? You know what I mean? But yeah, he basically took the class through for the sort of whole, like, school year. Each IT lesson was just another step in, like, how to build this webpage, and he would just dictate it almost like a general. He would just be like, all right, and then you do this, and everyone have to do that. You go, has everyone done that? Yeah? All right, if I go around and check and you ain't done it, bro, it's beef for you, innit? Has everyone done that? All right, cool. The next step is you do this. Everyone 5 minutes do this. Like, and he would just do it like that, innit? And I say all that to say, like, that was IT, information technology, is what that stood for. And that was around, like, computers and stuff like that. And that's what we got taught, like, the computer shit was. So for the kids now that are born into, like, this time where the computers, the internet, all this stuff, it's not like a new phenomenon. It's not like a new thing. Like, I remember when the internet came about. Like, I was a kid before the internet. I remember when the internet first came about, bro, where, like, you had the router, bro, and you had to plug the router into the phone line, man. They go, hold on, bro, hold on. Now you're getting whole music again, I need to steady myself. One sec. The OnlyMans podcast will be back shortly. Thank you for listening to the OnlyMans podcast. The OnlyMans podcast will be back shortly. Alright, we back in the building. What I was saying, yeah, I remember the time when man had to plug the router into the laptop, bro. So you had your internet router, right? And it's not like the routers now. Like, the one that I had, it was like a white router and it was flat. It had like an aerial thing sticking out of it. And you had to plug one wire, so the router had like about 4 ports. All right, there were like 4 internet cable ports, and then there'd be like a power plug that you plug like the power in for it to stay on, like, in the plug socket and shit. and then there was like another thing that went somewhere else. But basically, yeah, no, then there was the phone line, because this was back when you had like house phones. So when people hear the term landline now, like, what the fuck is a landline? Like, what, just a phone for the whole house? That's weird. Like, we just have our own phones in it. Like, but I come from the era where you had a landline, you had a main house phone that started with like your area code wherever you live and shit. And so with the old school routers, you had to plug one of the wires from the router into the phone cable, the phone port that was in the side of the wall. Usually it would be like either in your downstairs, like, and this is, you know, living in just like, say, a house, because God bless us, when we got the internet, my mum would move to like a house and stuff. We lived in a flat before, but this was like, it was near the front door for my mum's, in it, because that's where the phone thing was. And it's like, you can run a cable from the front door into the dining room and have a phone in there. So if like the phone rings and someone's in the dining room, you can pick it up there. If you're out sort of near the front door, you can pick it up there. And then there was one going upstairs and shit as well. But like, you plug the one plug from the router into the phone line, one plug from the router to the laptop, one plug from the router to the fucking the plug socket, and then there was a wire from the router going to the phone line, because the internet then needs to go through the phone line. So it was like, if I was on the internet and my mum picked up the house phone to make a call, she would, oh, can I get, let me see if I can find the sound. Because I was going to try and like mimic the sound just then, but it's not going to work. Because anyone who's from that era will recognize this immediately. But if you're not from this era, this is just going to sound like, what the hell is that? Like, it's just going to sound like some weird distortion. Dial-up sound. Hold on. So this is it, someone trying to make a call while you're on the internet, yeah. This is what you would hear. Like, you would hear that on the phone line, because the signal is going through the router for the internet, and you couldn't use the internet and the phone at the same time. Do you get what I mean? Like, I'm from that era, bro. I remember, blood, man, I had to sit, and the stairs in my mum's yard, they're like wooden stairs. Do you get me? It's like wooden stairs with like a layer of carpet over it. So the stairs are hard, bro. And like, there wasn't a wire that stretched far enough where you could like sit in the living room or the dining room for shit like that. So man would literally have to sit on these hard stairs, bro, on the laptop, fam. And I'll be on the laptop like on MSN trying to talk to gal and shit. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's all young niggas ever really wanted to do. You know what I mean? Look, oh, the internet, bro, like chat rooms and that. You mean MSN fucking like trying to chat with gal, but you a young kid, so you don't even fucking know how to spit game like that or not. You're trying to get shit off. Bro, I remember one time, and shout out to, hold on, let me get the soundboard back. And shout out to Jordan McGrath. Yeah. And shout out to my guy Kyle Green as well. And actually, shout out to my guy Dizzy D as well. By G's from Leesden. I remember one time I was like in sixth form, so I must be like 16, 17, around that kind of age. And again, this is the time where man had to sit on the stairs so I could use the internet, because you had to plug it into the router and shit on the laptop. I remember this was like when R. Kelly had released that like Trapped in the Closet shit. And you know how he did like fucking 20 billion different like versions and parts to it and shit. I remember one day we'd come home early from sixth form, innit? And again, these are my brethren and shit. Like, my mums knew them. Like, we all kind of linked up from like church, because our parents took us to church when we were younger and shit. So everyone know each other, innit? But again, we kind of just young niggas doing our shit, whatever. Were at my yard, sixth form times. and it might not have even been 6th, it might have been a weekend. I can't remember, but like basically, we was just there. I remember Jordan was there, and I think it was Daniel, which is Dizzy D. If it wasn't Dizzy D, it was Kyle Green, who we used to call G-Man. And I can't remember how it came across, but someone brought up like the R. Kelly Traps in the Closet thing, and someone was like, yo, you know there's like bare different parts to that. I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, bro, there's like bare parts to it, you know. It's not just the one track, there's like bare different parts to it. It's like, what? Swear it down. So I remember, bro, we sat on these stairs, bro, like three niggas, bro. And these ain't like wide stairs. These are like, if you've ever been like West Yorkshire side, how the houses are made there and shit, like big houses and stuff, but there's a lot in the house, innit? To my mum's yard. And 3 niggas, like, so he sat on the step above, I'm like sat on the middle step because I got the laptop because it's fucking my yard and shit. And then there's like a G sat the stair below, but like we turned to the side so we can all see the laptop, you get me? And we watched like the whole R. Kelly Trapped in the Closet thing. It took us literally about 4 hours to watch the whole shit, bro. We made a whole day of it. I remember there was one point, like there was a few points we stopped and got snacks and shit. Like, yo, now pause this, bro. I need to get some food, I need to get a drink. Like, you know what I mean? We literally, bro, we was making commentary and shit about it, man. Like, them times there was crazy, bro. Crazy, man. And like, it's so mad because, in fact, one sec. You're not gonna get the elevator music again. One sec. Yeah. 1 second. The OnlyMans podcast will be back shortly. All right. We're back in the building. Alright, what I was gonna say is it's so mad how at that time in my life, yeah, if you told me like there's gonna be a point where you don't ever speak to any of these men again, I would have never believed you in it. Like, I would never have thought that would be the case. And it's just mad how life works that way, innit? It's just mad how people who are so close to you in one moment can be like complete strangers in another moment, and vice versa. Like, it's just so mad how, like, say the circle I've got around me now aren't any of the guys that I grew up with from a kid. But the guys that I grew up from a kid, like, we were so tight, man. You know what I mean? Jordan, Josh Edwards, Kyle, Dizzy D. You know what I mean? Even Zach, like, we were so close. And again, we all met at the church. Like, our parents went to church, and we were just the young niggas around that age who came church because our parents made us come church because we're all black people, and like, you can't say, nah, I'm not going to church. Like, you have to go to church. But at the same time, we go to schools with like the English people. Like, we at the schools with these white gal and these gal that are nice and pretty and whatever the fuck. Like, we you know what I mean? So we all kind of understood each other on that level. I think like generally kids do that. Or at least people from that same age group, like especially younger people, they do that. They just like, oh, they identify with one another. So like, we were just a close knit bond. I remember one of the times there was a bonfire night, and we literally, this is past the statutes of limitations now. So if they try to come back to man for this, bro, like, I don't even know if that's a law in the UK, but like, for the court's sake, this is all entertainment, in it. Like, for the court's sake, if this recording is ever played in any sort of court hearing, any sort of court case, this is all entertainment. This is all fabrication. You know what I mean? For the sake of the recording, none of it's true. With that said, what did Jay-Z say in Ignorant Shit? He said, believe half of what you hear and none of what you see, even if it's spat by me. But with that said, I will kill niggas dead. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of them ones, in it. But like, with all that said, we went one bonfire night. We just vandalizing, bro. Like, it didn't even start out like that. It started out, yeah. So in like our social group again, we were like kids that grew up in church, but then like I grew up in the hood as well. So our social groups were mainly like church people because your parents are cool with their parents. Like, it's an easier thing as opposed to saying like, I'm gonna go chill at this person's yard, but they up to fuck shit and that your parents are gonna let you go. So there's me, Jordan, Josh, Kyle, Daniel, Zach, let's say. And then on the girls, there's Leah, who's Josh's little sister. There's Danielle, who's Jordan's older sister. There's Nadia, who is Josh's cousin. There's Olivia, who's Jordan and Danielle's cousin. So Nadia is Josh and Leah's cousin. Who else is there? And my little sister was there as well. But she's a bit younger than the girl group there at the time. So she was like trying to get in at that, but she was like a little bit too young comparatively. But the dynamics of it is basically, obviously Josh and Leah, their brother and sister, and their parents are like the pastor of the church, bro. Like their dad is the pastor of the church and shit. Jordan and Danielle, Jordan and Leah like kind of had a thing, and they're actually married now. Salute to them. They're actually like married and have been married for a long time, so that thing blossomed into something beautiful. At the time, whether people deny it or not, I remember all this shit. But at the time, Josh and Danielle had like this weird thing because Danielle had previously, her and my guy Dizzy D, they were like together for a while. They were like the what people call relationship goals now. That was like the equivalent when we was like that age. They were like the first of like the young people to be like together, like publicly, like that at an acceptable age, but they still like widows sort of shit. You know what I mean? So like there was that whole thing, but that they broke up and it wasn't pretty. And there was like this weird thing between Josh and Danielle because it almost felt like they were supposed to, but obviously it never really transpired to anything. There was myself and Nadia, and I've spoken about it on podcasts before, but we had like our thing. And then there was Olivia, who like had like a crush on me, but knew that me and Nadia had our thing, so never really like it just never really got anywhere past that. So there are all these dynamics going on in this group, innit? But at the same time, you can't just lean all the way into this shit. You have to still play like the socially acceptable game, innit? The dance that we all do. And I remember we had propositioned our parents, because again, we like 16, 17. So we of an age, and again, this is like black Christian parents from the Caribbean or Caribbean upbringing type of thing, but we kids born here. So there's a whole thing like, nah, you're not going out by yourself after a certain time, and you know what I mean? But then at the same time, you're at an age where you're not a child anymore, but there's still that parental thing. So we propositioned them and said, all right, look, because the girls generally were younger than us. Like, say if we were 16, 17, they were like 15, 16. They were like a year, 2 years from us, apart from Danielle, who's a year older, but same premise. So we propositioned it like, yo, we want to go and see the fireworks, but the girls want to go and see the fireworks. So rather than all of the parents having to go and stuff, we're old enough, we'll all just go as a group. We all together, so we all going to keep each other safe. Like we old enough, and like again, we, you know what I mean, we're not dumb niggas, you know what I mean? Like we we got like good heads on our shoulders, so like we're not gonna go out and just be stupid. So we thought, but like that was the proposition in it. It was like, all right, let's do that. So obviously the parents, everyone's like, the parents call each other like, oh, the kids looking to do this. So everyone signed off on it. So we're good to go. Like, all right, cool, we're good to go. And to be fair, if I think about it, me and Nadia didn't even really have our thing properly at this point. I think there may have been very subtle things, but it wasn't like a thing at this point yet. But we've obviously linked up with them and we've said, all right, bet. So here's the deal, yeah. You lot obviously don't want to be stuck with us all night, and we don't want to be stuck with y'all. Because again, that's what it is. Because I didn't get with Nadia until like the second year of like sixth form. So this is like the first year of sixth form I was in. So he was like, look, you don't want to be stuck with us all night. We don't want to be stuck with you all night. Cool, innit? Everyone, parents have signed off on it. Cool. So listen, you lot stay in the park. You can do your own thing. You can think, but you lot stay in the park. We're going to go do our thing and then we'll link back up. When I think back to this is super irresponsible. But again, there's like 5 of them. It's like a group of 5 girls, isn't it? Which, again, I'm going to say 2023. You think about that, like just a group of 5 girls between the ages of like maybe 13 to 17. That can sound like mad, just leaving them by themselves in like this crowded area because of how mad times are now. But at this time, in Leeds especially, that's where I'm from, like, I don't want to say shit like that didn't happen, but it wasn't like that. It was like, you lot can be in this park, because mostly in this park it's families or, couples or fucking, it's a whole bunch of white people here. Like, no one can just do nothing to you, because it's like, do you know what I mean? So they were like, all right, cool. And again, they're a bit younger, but they girls, you know what I mean? They want to kind of not get out there in that kind of way, but just, you know what I mean? They want to begin to find their own identity and shit. So it was like an opportunity for them to be by themselves. Because again, as girls, you're overprotected by your parents. Like, you're not allowed to do nothing. You got to have a man with you, all that sort of shit. So they were like cool with it. So we, as the man, then we basically went off. And at this point, me, Jordan, Josh, and Kyle all go to the same sixth form, innit? So we've been in sixth form. You know what I mean? Like, from the first day, man was like a celebrity low-key in there. I'm not gonna lie, yeah. Because I did drama in it, like acting and stuff. And I've always been really good at that, which, geez, that sounds crazy, innit? But like drama, like acting in that sort of like creative way, like I've always been really good at stuff like that. And I remember there was one of the first classes, they basically made us have to get into the character of some mad shit. So it's like, imagine you like some sort of repossessed like zombie person rising from the dead or something. You got to act it out and shit, like just weird stuff like that. But I remember like the first class, man did that and I just turned the fuck up in there, bro. I remember I just like proper got weird, bro. You know what I mean? Proper like, started convulsing and all that sort of shit. Like, I went mad in it. And again, this is mostly white people in this class and shit. And like, in a weird way, all right, quick side story. So it adds context. When I was a kid, my mum signed me up for acting lessons. So I might have been around like 9, 10, something like around that kind of age. And my mum signed me up for like acting lessons in it. Like, she just said from like a young age, like, oh, I think you're going to be an actor. Like, I just feel that you're going to be an actor. Like, she sent me for like, I say acting lessons, it was more drama class than acting lessons, because those have 2 different connotations. But it was more like drama class, like learning how to act type of thing. But it was more like theatrical style than like cinematic movie style. It was more like theatrical acting. But I remember I used to fucking hate it, bro. I used to hate it so much because literally, bro, I'm the only black kid in this class here. And again, I'm a black kid growing up in Leeds. You're surrounded by all these white people who are different, and you kind of trying to fit in and all this sort of shit. Like, you got your own insecurities. I'm this weird looking black kid with these goofy teeth and this big nose that I've been made fun of before, and all this sort of shit in it. And it's like, I remember I used to hate it, fam, because you'd go there and the acting teacher, the drama teacher, God bless her heart, like, she wouldn't let you hide. And what I mean by that is, like, sometimes you're in school and stuff and like you can kind of hide in the background. Like, the acting teacher, she would not let you hide. And if you were hiding, she would call you out and you got to do shit in front of the class first because you're hiding. Because her whole thing was like, don't hide from this. Don't hide from it. Embrace it. You see how scared and nervous you feel and all that? Embrace it, fam. Embrace it and you'll be even better. Like, that was her thing. And like, even that, when I think about it, I feel like that definitely had an impact on me. Even if I didn't realize it at the time, it definitely had an impact kind of on how, even like when I perform like musically and shit. But yeah, I went to this drama class and I hated this drama class, man. I fucking hated it. And my mum would fucking have to drag me and like punish me and shout and all sort of stuff to drag me to this drama class, and I would hate it. But then I would go and I'd begrudgingly really enjoy it. Like, begrudgingly though, like I wouldn't want to enjoy it, but then you kind of get into it and it's kind of fun. But then just as you're starting to get into it, then it's over. And you're like, oh yeah, like I don't even like this shit anyway. You know what I mean? It was like that sort of a thing. But like, I'd always been told that I was really good at acting. Even go back to the church shit quickly. Like, in any of like, because in our generation, we're the sickest generation in Chapeltown Community Church. I just want to say that as well. Like, I think Chapeltown Community Church shut down because of COVID and stuff. I don't think they ever really recovered from that. But like, when it was thriving, our generation of youth were the greatest generation of youth that were ever there. The generation, because there were like young people before us. We were like kids, you know what I mean? There were young people that we thought were cool and stuff. But like, in terms of the impact, we were the greatest generation, absolutely. But like, we used to put on like plays and productions and musical pieces. Like, we used to do all sorts of creative stuff in it. Like, Josh and Leah used to write scripts and that. Like, they were sick. Do you get what I mean? Like, and in any of those productions, I would always be the main character. It was always like, yo, Andre, you got this, fam. I would always be the main character. And like, for me, it was just like, if I'm playing Jesus, I'm Jesus, bro. Like, I'm not Andre, I'm Jesus. I'm actually him, bro. Let me get these lines down. Let me, like, any role that I sort of had, like, I'm that. Embrace me as that. I'm a talk like that. I'm a move like that. Like, I'm that in it. And even from then, like, I always would be like the main character. I remember there was one year where everyone was actually like, yo, all right, let's have a different main character, because Andre is always the main character. He's always the main guy. Like, he always is. They're going to expect that. So let's have someone else do it. And I was like, yeah, bet, bud. Like, I'll do something aside. Like, I don't even mind, because I was always him. Do you get what I mean? And back to the drama classes. Again, I used to really like just not like being there. Just, I'm surrounded by all these white kids. And I remember there was one white youth, and he was cousins with a white girl that was in my class at school. So this is like high school time. Yeah, this is like between year 7 and year 9 kind of times. It's like 12, 14, like that kind of age range. And like, I remember there was a whole thing as like one of the first classes, because again, parents are signing their kids up for this shit and whatever. And there was a whole thing like, you have to, all right, the teacher would put us in groups and we have to like introduce ourselves and talk about ourselves. And the whole thing was like, you're in groups of 3 and each person has to present back to the entire class something about one of the people in their group. And it can't be the same person. So like, person A has to learn something about person B has to learn something about person C, and person C has to learn something about person A, type of thing. So it was like, I remember we got into this group and I was talking to the guy, and you know what I mean? It's just, you know, the general introduction stuff. It's like, my name is Andre. I'm, 12 years old and 13 years old. I go to Abbey Grange, C of E High School. Like, there's the basic shit in it. And I remember the guy was like, oh, like, you go to Abbey Grange? I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, yo, like, my cousin goes there? I was like, who's your cousin? Oh, Jess Harris. And I was like, oh shit, that's mad. She's in my form class, bro. Like, not only does she go to my school, she's in my form class, bro. Like, I know Jess Harris. Like, sorry to bait your name out, Jess. Big up to you, whatever you do. Like, she was always a super, I don't want to say goody two shoes, but she was always in the top classes. She was always like, I think she was a prefect and shit. She was always just on job. You know what I mean? So she's probably like killing shit now. But like, he was like, oh yeah, that's my cousin. Like, and I was like, I'll swear down. Like, so I remember we presented back to the class, and like that was one of the things I said. It was like, oh yo, this is, I think the guy's name was Josh or something. It might not be that. It might be like George or something completely different. But it's like, this is my man, and you know, he's this many years old. And an interesting fact I learned about him is that his cousin is in my class at high school, and everybody's like, oh, that's so funny. Whatever the fuck. But it was like, there was a lot of those sort of things in drama. And I remember there were certain weeks where mum would wake up and say, all right, you go in drama class. I'd be like, mum, no, I'm not going to this shit, man. I don't like this shit. I don't want to go to this shit. I just want to chill. I want to watch cartoons in the morning. I don't want to do this shit, man. Because the thing was early in the morning as well. It's like 9-10 in the morning, bro. And at that time as a kid, like, thinking about my Saturday and Saturday morning cartoons, it's like, bruh, like, that's, nah, bro. You know what I mean? And so there were some days where mum was probably just tired from work or whatever the fuck, and she would just be like, you know what, fine, whatever, like, don't go then, innit? Because but then some days she'd be like, nah, you go in, and we'd like, not that we'd have arguments like that, but like, there would be friction. There would be like, I don't want to go and she's making me go type of shit. So I wouldn't go there in a good mood. But I found a lot of the time when I let myself enjoy it, it was really enjoyable. So I say all of that to go back to my original point. Sixth form, like the first class of drama and shit. And again, we've got to act out these weird pieces. Like, we got like a little short monologue in that you just got to like try and memorize the words and just sort of perform it. Stuff like different things like that. I think the teacher was just gauging what we could all do and shit like that. And yeah, I remember I went crazy in the act outs in drama, bro. Like, because again, because like I rap and shit, I've always been good at memorizing lines. Like, stuff like that is just like, let me say it, let me find the rhythm of it, let me find like the bop and the cadence of it, and then like I'll just be able to, I can feel it through. So it's like, even when I perform now, like when I perform my tracks or recite my tracks back and stuff, like, I've said this to my girl before and people before, but like when I perform and stuff, I don't think about the words that I'm saying. It's almost like a muscle memory thing. It's like, it's committed to my brain and my mind, and I can recite my entire track word for word without thinking about the words. I can think about something completely different, and I can just do that because it's just committed to mind and memory. And so it's like similar things like learning lines and like scripts and stuff. So I remember I got this thing, and again, there was one point we had to like, we got paired with somebody. I remember there was this really, I don't want to say he was a weird kid because he seemed like a nice kid, but he was almost like a frog. I can't describe it. Like, he kind of talked like this, like, and he had like a mole here, and like, but he was like an eccentric kid. But he was like mad nerdy, but he was like eccentric. Like, it was, but it was, you know what I mean? He wasn't like a bad kid by any means. But I remember like I got paired with him. There was like this one girl called Jess in the class I got paired with, and she was like, how do you describe it? She was a thick white girl, but not like how you see like on Instagram and stuff today. She just a white girl who had body, but it was kind of before the time where white girls really embraced their body like that. And there was this other girl called Bethany Wilson. I think she's like a presenter or something now. Like, I think she's actually doing like shit. But ironically, me and Bethany Wilson went to the same primary school. So the way I grew up is like, you're a kid, you're born, and then you go to nursery up until the age of 4. And then from like 4, you go to primary school up to you're about like 10, 11, 12. Then from there, you go to high school from like 12 to 16. From there you go to sixth form, 17, 18, then on to uni, whenever you go to uni. But me and Bethany Wilson went to the same primary school and were like in the same class like all the years. So I knew Bethany Wilson, but when it came to high school, she went to this other high school and I went to Abbey Grange. And again, some people from my primary school went there as well, like my guy Callum, Ashley, Isaac Main, who's a DJ now. Like there was a couple people that went from Jordan Leslie, Josh Thomas, Luke Adviovsky. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head right now. But like there was bare people who went from a primary school to that, because like Leeds, there are only but so many schools for different ages. Do you know what I mean? So, but anyway, the girl Jess, she was like, Bethany Wilson was like petite, but not even like a creepy way. She was a petite, skinny, pale blonde white girl, but she kind of had like titties and ass, but she was like very petite. And so you could tell in a lot of ways that like man were on her in it. And Jess was kind of like the Jess girl was like her, I don't want to say best friend, but the way I kind of see it was like Jess was her girl in it. And she was kind of the girl who's not as pretty, not as thing, but it was in a time before we had the appreciation of like bodied women. So I would back you in it. So I'm kind of looking at this girl like, yo, fam, like, yo, she got hips on her. She kind of thick. But again, she got like spots in her face. I don't want to cuss her. I'm not trying to take the piss, but like, she's not the most quote unquote pretty girl, but she's not hideous by any means. You know what I mean? So like, I got like this thing we had to act out with her and shit. And I like, again, it was a thing where we had to be very like physically close and shit and physically thing. And because I'd done all this acting class stuff and all this stuff where you're forced to get past the awkwardness, like you're forced to just, oh, this is mad awkward, that you're like this young girl, I'm this young guy, like we have all these feelings and all this stuff, but we acted something out, so that don't even matter. Like all of that kind of training from my drama classes and stuff when I was a kid, like there's this act out I got to do with her. And like we very kind of physically, intimately close and shit. And I remember we did the act out, and the rest of the class were like, "Whoa!" And then I remember there was like a solo act out I did, and this girl Jess, like, and all these people were like, "Whoa!" I remember the girl Jess, she was just talking to me bare, bro. Like throughout the class, after the class, she was just talking to me bare in it. And I remember she was like, "Oh my god, you're so sick! You're so sick! Oh my god, like that was so sick!" I remember, again, I was kind of shy and shit. I was like, oh, thank you, man. Like, nah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And basically, because I'm going to get back to my original story. The whole thing of that was basically, that was like, say, my first or second lesson at the sixth form starting. Do you know what I mean? This new sixth form. Because the reason we went there was basically me, Jordan, Josh, and Kyle all went to different high schools. So I went to Abbey Grange. Josh went to the grammar school in Leeds, the boys' school. Jordan went to Allerton Grange or Allerton High, and Kyle went to Roundhay. But we all literally in the same year. Do you get what I mean? Like, it wasn't like one of us was a year older, a year younger. Like, we're all 92 babies. You know what I mean? So like, we all did our GCSEs at the same time, went to homework club that was set up by church at the same time. Even homework club I got stories about from. Oh, did I go into a homework club story? Maybe after if I remember. But we all decided to link up at Roundhay sixth form, because it was basically like, all right, we're all brethren in church. We see each other more than we see our school friends and shit. So we all brethren, but we go to different schools. Why don't we all link up at the same school in it? And it was kind of like, what's the closest school to everybody? Like, what's the closest one that everyone can get to? And Abbey Grange was way out in the sticks, like the one that I went to, that was way out. And to be fair, I think that worked in my favour, because I kind of had relationships in Abbey Grange. It's like, if them man came in and I'm just best friends with them man, I think guys like Callum or Kyle and shit like that, they might have felt away, because they were like my guys in Abbey Grange, you get me? So I was all right with kind of just moving on from that, like leaving and shit. The grammar school, I don't even know if they had like a sixth form like that. That wasn't really an option. Allerton High was again out in the sticks and shit, and Roundhay was kind of it was close to where our church was. It's maybe about 20-25 minutes walk, 10-15 minutes drive from where our church was. So it's like, all right, that's like the closest place, and we'll link up there, innit? So, but again, we all do different stuff. Like, I think Josh did like, what did he study? Josh studied politics, I want to say, because this was like a course you could take. I want to say politics and like a science, but that could be wrong. I believe Jordan studied business. I studied English language, and Kyle studied media studies. So we in the same sixth form, but we have different classes in it. So again, this is like the second class of fucking sixth form and shit. This is like, I think it's my first drama class in it, sixth form. So I've done all this shit, the girl Jess, the girl Bethany, the frog guy, like all these different people and shit. And even like the man them that were in that drama class were like spudding me after the shit, like, nah, yeah, you did that, bro. So obviously it's like break time and stuff. I link up with my G's them. You know what I mean? We in the common room, we chilling, and we like a new group of black boys, because there was another group of black youths. One of them I actually ended up having like a fist fight with, but we'll get to that. There was another group of black youths, but they had come from the high schools. People kind of knew them. We were like this new group, but we kind of came as a group because we said like, let's link up 4 minutes. So we came like as a collective. But Kyle, he also went to the high school. Do you get what I mean? So Kyle was kind of like, he was with our group, but he'd also chill with that group because again, those were his high school guys. Do you get what I mean? And so I remember it might have been like lunchtime or something. It was something where we had just gone to the shops, and again, we like the new sixth formers. There was this girl called Zara, this beautiful, beautiful black woman called Zara, and she was the year above. And I remember I was just like, oh my god, she's so beautiful. And like, but she was very, the year above, just seemed so much more grown up than us. So like, I remember when we first started, and then she, like, Zara's one of the people coming like, hi, you know, to all the new sixth formers, want to welcome you. And she was almost like, she seemed like she was a helper that worked there, which was actually in the sixth form. And I remember, you know what I mean? Again, these times here, I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself in it. And I was like, oh, like, she's bad in it. But none of the man would chat to her like that. Do you get what I mean? The only guy who was on it kind of like that with me was Jordan. Like, Jordan was the only guy, say if it was me and him in the common room, and it was gal, and I was like, yo, bro, should we go chat to them gal? He was the only guy who'd be like, all right, bro, fuck it, let's go. Like, Jordan was on go in it. If I was with Josh or Kyle, and it's no disrespect to them, but they were just more so like, nah, allow it in it. But like, I remember I tried to chat to the Zara girl, you know what I mean? And I got close at a point, because I was just like, yo, Zara, come on, like, I was, the way I would play it is like almost like the young boy going after this older woman type of thing. And I would just play it like, yo, I like you, fam. Like, and I remember at first she was like, oh my God, you're a kid, stop it. Like, you're just a kid. I was like, yo, Zara, look, I'm taller than you, yeah. And I would just use charm and I remember one point I was really like, yo, like, and I remember the man them were there. So obviously I'm hearing Jordan and then like they're snickering and making their comments because it's what your boy is doing it. So I'm trying to play up to them a little bit as well and shit. And I'm like, yo, Zara, like, come on, man. Like, you know what I mean? I remember she was just like, nah, whatever. And obviously them man start laughing and I'm all in my ego. I'm trying to play up to the man them and shit. So I'm like, oh, bro, lie it then, innit, fam? You don't want to do cool, innit? Say nothing, say no. And I remember from that point, she was just super like, nah, like, bro, like, nah. And she just didn't chat to me. I remember one time I saw her in like the corner shop near the sixth form. I was like, yo, Zara, what you saying? She's like, yo, don't try to chat to me now. Like, try making little comments in front of your friends and shit. Don't try to chat to me. And she just was not on it, innit? I remember feeling like, oh, shit. I kind of fucked this up, you know? It's like, oh, shit. And I remember, I want to say at some point I went back to her and I was just like, yo, I'm really sorry for thinking you like that. Like, I think I saw her on a bus one time as well, like years after sixth form. And I think I was just like, yo, like, I'm really sorry that I went on like that, man. Like, that wasn't cool. But I say all of that to say, yeah, back to the original thing, the bonfire night. I didn't forget. So the bonfire night, we've said to the group of girls, yo, you lot stay in the park. You know what I mean? Text us, call us, da 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 da. We're gonna text you every so often. We're just gonna check in with you, make sure you're all right. You know what I mean? Cool. They're like, cool. Listen, stay here where there's bare people and stuff. Like, just stay where it's well populated. Like, just stay here so we know that you. All right, cool. We go off. Oh, one thing I didn't say. So before I get to the bonfire, one thing I didn't say. So after my drama class, sixth form, yeah, after I turned up and shit, I linked up with a man. They were in the common room, and it might have been after lunch or something. But basically, I had a free period afterwards, and a free period is when you don't have because again, in sixth form, you only do the lessons that you've chosen to do. There's not like a mandatory like you select like 4 or 5 subjects and you only do them. So if there's just no class at that period, then you just have a free period to do whatever the fuck you want. Essentially, you can study, you can bullshit around, whatever the fuck. I remember I had a free period and I'm walking with Josh and Jordan and this other white girl. And again, at the time, she one of the lame white girls in the sixth form minute. Like, I've not spoken up, but you see her and she's like, she one of them, she in that crowd. Da, 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 da. One sec, hold music. Hold music. Alright, we back. So, what I was saying was, this month we have to lunch or something. We've all just jammed. We've gone corner shop and that. We've done our thing. We played football. Oh, you know what? I'm going to give you some sixth form stories. Like, fuck it, I am. But I'll keep going with this one. And we walking kind of like up the side of the school. It kind of heads to like the main playground, the area. But then if you head the other way where we're coming from, there's the car park and the exit further down. Walking up from there, we just chatting. It's like me, Jordan, Josh, we chatting, whatever. I think Cal might be there as well, but I can't remember. Doing that thing, whatever. It's just a group of us in it. Pretty white girl comes up to us. Excuse me. And I've said my government on this enough times, I'll just say it. But, excuse me. No, fuck it, I won't say it. So she said my government name, but I'm just going to say Drizz. She come up and said, excuse me, are you Drizz? And the man them literally were like, oh shit, nah, you're lit, bro. Like, nah, you're lit, bro. You're lit. The man them were like, nah, you're lit, bro. We didn't say lit, obviously, but that was the equivalent. It was like, nah, you're him, fam. You're him. Like, bro, just pretty girl come up to you asking if you're you, bro. I've never spoken to this girl in my life, bro. Don't know her, but she know me, fam. I was like, oh, yeah. It's like, oh, like, you know my friend Jess, like she was in your drama class. She said you were so good. Oh my god, she's been going on about it like all day. She said you were so good, like da 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 da. And I was like, oh shit, swear down, like yeah. And I was like, oh, you know. I was like, oh, like what sort of classes do you do? And like, you know, she's like, oh, you know, I do this or it was like, I think it might have been art, like drawing and shit. She had some funny name. It started with a Z or an X, so it was like a Z sound, like Zakira, Zakia. I can't remember her name. White girl, bro. Like, this is a white girl. She might have had some like European family or something, but it's a white girl, fam. Like, but she had some funny name in it, and I remember being like, "Oh shit, like I've never heard that name before." And so, like, what you doing now? Like, oh, you know, I've got a free period, but you know, I'm gonna go to the art room and draw some shit. It's like, oh, do you want to come with me and stuff? And again, the man them were like, "Oh, yo, shit, bro, like, nah, he's lit, like, nah, he's him in it, he's him in it." Like, but they're not doing it as bait as that, but they're like, "Nah, like, this guy is lit in it, bro." So I'm like, yeah, you know, because I had planned to just go and fuck about with them man in it, but I was like, "Yo, you man, listen." And obviously, like, now I'm feeling myself. I'm like, "Yo, you man, listen, yo." Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Obviously, I'm gonna go to this art room, just jam with. Let's say his name is Zakira. I'm gonna go jam with Zakira a little bit. You know what I mean? But you wanna check me when you finish, though, innit? Yeah, all right, yo, bro, safe innit? Yeah, nah, cool. Yeah, bless innit? Like, yeah. Listen, text me or something, like, because we got our little mobile phones, our little Nokias and shit. We think we lit and that. Like, yeah, text me or something. Because I think I'm lit, bro. I'm like, oh shit, this girl's invited me to come to her art class with her. It's just been me and her in a class. But like again, bro, I'll keep it legit. I don't really have no moves like that, bro. I've never been one of them niggas, bro. Like I'm just me in it. I'm just me, and there's charm in me, but I'm just me. Like I don't try to come at you with game and shit like that. But like nothing booky happened. Like nothing thing happened. Literally just went there and she was just drawing something and we just like spoke about it. To be honest with you, I got bored at a point. I was kind of like, oh, I kind of wish I didn't come, to be fair, because again, in my little mind, I'm fucking a little dickhead pornos. I'm watching them shit. I'm thinking, oh, she might just bust it open on man, you know what I mean? But that's not what happened. She just drew her pictures and spoke and shit, and then we left. But like, it's funny because Josh was in like, yeah, I think he did politics, and he and her were in a class, and they ended up getting like a lot more closer. I didn't really speak to her that much after that. Zami, because her name was like Zamira. I can't remember. But back to the original thing, like, well, not the original, but back to the previous thing. The girl Jess, obviously, she's raving about man, all about, and again, her, Bethany, the Zami girl, like all these people, they came up through the high school, so they kind of part of that social hierarchy where like they're them in it, and they just raving about us. Like, I'm not gonna lie, in sixth form, like we was them niggas, bro. That first year of sixth form, second year it cooled off because we were all like, oh shit, we need to like study and that, and like that's when me and Nadia got together and like shit started changing. But like that first year of sixth form, we were fucking lit, bro. We was them, fam. Do you know what I mean? But I say all that to say, back to the bonfire night. We split off from the group of girls in it, and we talking because again, even in the sixth form, Jordan was making his own moves. There was a girl who was year 11, so sixth form was year 12, and there was this girl who was in year 11, Aisha. So her last name is Mackenzie. I don't know why I'm baiting up all the names, but mixed race girl, pretty girl and shit. And she was like the it girl. But again, there was like a divide between the kids in the school and the sixth form. Like they were like little niggas to us, so we, you know what I mean, whatever. But to them, they were like, yo, fuck these new niggas who come in thinking it them. Like this is our school sort of shit. We've been here all these years. But nothing really kicked off. But we just kept our distance from them niggas in it. We'd interact every so often, and sort of it was like a pause. Like we would feel each other out. So like if we somewhere and they somewhere, might be like, oh, what go on you, man? And they might be like, oh, you man cool, yeah? Yeah, saying that. And all like if we bump into them doing certain, might be like, oh, you man are jokes, you know, and like, you know what I mean? Just to kind of make it, let it be know, like, yo, ain't no issues. We ain't gonna go there with you, man, and you man don't go there with us, innit? But there was this young mixed race girl, and she was in year 11, so she was still in the school. And she was like the it girl, like they was on her. But obviously Jordan McGrath, you know what I mean? Because he's a swaggy nigga as well. I'd love to link up with him, like some pots, and like, but new guy, you know what I mean? He had an old year coming, and he was like, yeah, I'm on her in it, like. So this bonfire night, going back to the bonfire night, we saying like, yo, I'm saying like, yo, I spoke to Jess and all them before, you know what I mean? They gonna be out bonfire night, you know what I mean? Jordan said, yeah, you know what I mean? Mackenzie might be out, you know what I mean? Like, so we looking like, yo, let's go find some gal, bro. Like, fuck this, my nigga, we out, we young, we lit, you know what I mean? Fucking our parents know we out, so they ain't gonna beef us or call our line like we out. Like, yo, let's go find some gal, bro. You know what I mean? what happened from that point. One thing I should also explain. I know I keep diverging from the bonfire night story, but I'm going to get there. But one thing I should also explain is the girl and me, Jess. Like, again, we young kids, bro. We like 16 to, like, we young in it. 16. Because the first year. From that drama session, me and her have like this kind of like sexual tension thing where we both kids like front into each other. So I can't remember how it started, but something sort of, and she made some sort of sexual comment, some sort of like, "Ooh yeah," like that, or something like that. And I must have been like, "Oh, you like that," innit? And then from there, we kind of just had this thing where we would just exchange that kind of sexual energy, where it's like, "Oh, I want to fuck you," and she's like, "Oh yeah, I want you to fuck me." Like, we never did anything. We then just kind of like get close and then just laugh because we kids in it. Like we were just front into each other, but we had this whole thing like. And man, we're like, we just chat shit, bro. Just chat shit. I remember like we were saying to them, "Oh, you're going to be at bonfire night?" It's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And she'd always call me like, "Oh yeah, do you like that sexy?" Like it was like over the top. It was like overcompensation because maybe to the girl Jess, this was like her outlet to like be the sexy girl she kind of wanted to be, but she couldn't be because the white boys weren't into her like that. Because then white boys went to the skinny girl Bethany Wilson. They were into her, and she was kind of like the friend who was bigger, let's say. But she wasn't fat on it, and she just was bodied and more curvy and shit. So this young black nigga who got the girls spreading his name and shit all around, like, and the white boys had to respect it. Because what would happen is like lunchtimes we would play like football and shit with them. So it'd be like all our G's, me, Jordan, Josh, kind of like all the black G's, and we literally do it like that, like, yo, white boys be black boys, in it. And they would call it, it's like, all right, white boys be black boys, but it's, you know how white boys banter, like UK white boys, like they banter is like that. Do you get what I mean? And if they cool, they'll banter like that, and as long as they like fuck with you and shit, and there's no bad energy, like that's just how they banter, in it. It's like, all right. They never said it, but they would always imply like whites against niggers. They never said niggers, but they would imply it. But it's like all in banter, in it. And again, this is a white area, bro. This is where white people live, bro. So we can't go crazy and shit. But like, we'd always play them in football. And again, because me and the church guys, like, we had like a weekly league that we played in. Like a 5 to 7-a-side league that we played in like weekly. Like we was rude boys, you know what? Air horn, actually, so fuck that. We was rude boys, you know. So I'm not gonna lie, we were sick, bro. We were sick. There are so many stories that I could tell right now. I'm trying to keep a focus because I just remember the story about like the football and shit, where I ended up beefing the coach, who is like weirdly my cousin somehow. But like, anyway. We would play the white boys and shit, and we would rag them most of the time, but every so often they would get one over us and shit. Again, we all young and shit, you know what I mean? This is back when like summer was summer and the sun would be out. We take our tops off and that. And I remember from high school, a kind of thing we did with the football, because I never went to high school with these man, remember? But what we did was when we played football, like all the girls, all the it girls, the pretty girls and shit, they would like sit on the side and watch. It was almost like if you were one of the girls who could sit on the side and watch, you were like one of the popular girls. Because, oh my God, you get to watch the boys play football, sort of shit. I remember there was a thing we would do where like you get one of the girls to hold your coat, and it's like if she holds your coat, it's like, yeah, you lit. Because sometimes, bro, certain people would be like, "Oh, hold my coat," and they'd be like, "Nah, bro, I'm not holding your coat." And that would happen, and we laugh at them and shit. This is high school times, so like, obviously from them times, I'd wag you out there and shit. And like, even, fucking hell, Vanessa. Like, she's black, by the way. She was from high school. Like, yeah, anyway, there was a whole thing where we'd get the girls to like hold our coat, and that was kind of like a little swaggy thing you'd do. So I'm coming with kind of this culture of football and shit. But in round there, because they had actual fields in high school, Abbey Grange, we had a school field, but it was across the road from the school. So like, you'd either have to sneak out or get permission to go. And if you sneak out, you got to sneak back in, and we just want to play ball. So we had like these concrete tennis courts and shit that we used to play on and that. But in round there, they had actual like grass and fields as part of the playground and that. So again, we would play ball, and the girls didn't really watch as much, but man would try to always encourage that, like, yo, like, you should come just watch us play. But they were just like, nah, we're gonna get some food, or we're gonna this or whatever. A quick sidebar. I'm gonna go back to the bonfire now. I know I keep teasing it, but that is the big story. But I remember one time it was like me, Jordan, Josh, Kyle, and Kyle didn't even start like his bodybuilding stuff because he's like a personal trainer now. He's like proper muscle, like, you know what I mean? He's doing his thing. We was, again, it was an off shift in it. Not shift. It was like an off class where you didn't have like a period. You didn't have like a class to go to in sixth form. I remember fucking this one time, because again, we young niggas, like, we like little skinny niggas and shit, but we trying to get like our muscles up and do our thing. And I like used to have this routine from like the age of like 13. I would do like 100+ sit-ups a night, like I was a maniac with it, because my whole thing was like, I'm mad skinny, so I can't get hench, but I can get a six-pack. Like, that's what I can do. So I would just go like crazy with that in it. And like my six-pack was mad. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. Like, as a youth, I had a crazy six-pack, bro. You know what I mean? So I remember we had an off period, but again, the high school is shared in the area where the sixth form is. So obviously, like, we were playing football at this little like concrete bit, just sort of like one touch pass sort of shit, like just in a circle. It was like the four of us. And every so often, one of the white boys might walk past and enjoy a little bit, and he'd go off and whatever. We were just doing our thing, and it was a hot day, innit? So obviously, we've backed off the tops and shit now. Because again, we not in the school, bro. We in the sixth form. You get me? So like, if someone in the school backed off their top, a teacher would be like, oh, put your top. Because we sixth form, the teachers can't just chat shit to us, and there's not like any teachers about because there's classes going on. But where we was right outside like a class that was going on. And I remember it was Josh's little sister's class. So his little sister's like a year below us. So we're year 12 at this time. And his little sister's like year 11 in it. So they're like a year younger than us. I remember it was like his class, or her class, sorry, was in the room that was like adjacent to this big glass window that we were playing football outside of shirtless. So you can only imagine it, yeah. Like, you got these young girls, because again, we about 16 at the time, these girls about 15, so it's not like no crazy age difference. But like, they're all in high school, they try to, you know, do their pretty girl thing, whatever. And us niggas is out there shirtless, playing ball, just fucking fuck the rules, fuck whatever. We're just doing our thing in it. And like, again, we had our little six-pack and our little muscle and our little thing. And I remember like my six-pack, that was like, it sounds so dumb saying it, but that shit was like, I was proud of that shit. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, look at the pack, bro. Look at that shit, fam. Like, yeah, it's layered, fam. It's strong, bro. You know what I mean? I was proud of that shit. So anytime to just back up a top and just show that, like, I'll do that shit. I remember one time in high school, like, I on purpose by accident lifted up my top, pretending I was wiping my face from where I was sweating and shit, but just lifted up my top because there was a couple of galley in the group I was with, in it. Lifted up my top just to like wipe my face. Oh, my face is so sweaty, I gotta wipe my face. So they could see the shit. I remember they went back to their group and they was like, yo. I heard, like, they were trying to whisper, but I heard them and it's like, oh my God, he's got such a sexy body. Oh my God, he's said that. Like, so like my six-pack used to gas me in it. So we outside this room playing ball and shit. I later come to find out, again, we go to church this Sunday, and Leah's like, yo, you lot was outside our class playing football, you know. I was like, wait, what? What are you talking about? It's like, yeah, like, you lot was there, and like, everybody was staring at you lot, like, everybody was just looking at you lot, da-da-da-da-da. And she's like, yo, like, again, I won't say my government name, but she said my government, but she's like, yo, Drizz, like, yo, there's this girl in my class loves you, fam. I'm like, wait, what? And this is around the time I'm going through like my discovery of like what I like in it. Because what I realize about myself now, like, I'm drawn to what you could sort of see as like North African, Ethiopian, Eritrean, like that kind of aesthetic. But I went through a process to find that, and like for a long time in my life, I was like, I don't want to say strictly, but like mostly attracted to like Asian women, like Pakistani, Bengali, Indian, like these sort of things in it. And it was a Pakistani girl. I remember she was like, yo, this girl in my class, I can't remember her name, so I won't even try to pretend. She's like, yo, she loves you, fam. I was like, oh, swear dad, yeah. It's like, yeah, she's like a Pakistani girl. I was like, oh, swear down, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, one flip. And it was like, yeah, we was gassed in sixth form. What was what I'm saying in it? We was gassed in sixth form. We was like them niggas in it. So all of that is to go back to the original story and say, bonfire night. I'm going to try not to segue away from it again. So we've split from the group of girls. We've said, you lot stay here. We're going to check in with you, but we want to go do our thing in it. But we know we can't tell our parents, like, yo, we just want to go do our thing and find gal, because they're never going to go for that. So the cover is we're going to go with the girls and make sure they're safe and shit. But we tell the girl, like, you lot, chill in it. All right, cool. So we go off now. And we just young, we lit, we excited, like, yo, we're going to find some bitches, da-da-da-da. All right, cool. So we doing our thing, we going around. And, like, there's not really a lot of opportunities to think like that, because again, I know in London, you know, from what they at least depict in like media and shit, man will go to a girl and be like, yo, what are you saying? Ah, you alright, yeah? Like, and we would see that shit depicted in media, but we up in the north, bro, we from Leeds, fam, like that's West Yorkshire, bro, that's the north of England, like that shit hasn't travelled that far yet, but we kind of get some glimpses of that. So we try to move with that energy, but like it's not as brazen as that. That's not acceptable up there. So there's like a couple little groups of gal we see, we try to talk to them, but they're not really, because again, these times, again, gal ain't really just going to go off with you. It was just a different time, like the same way we felt comfortable leaving the group of girls, because they're not just going to go off and shit. Like it's, you try and chat to gal and shit, they're not just going to go off with you. And in the same way, you're not going to try and force them. It's just like, all right, cool, say nothing, let's try and fight. You know what I mean? So we going around. It's like, yo, blood, like we ain't found no gal, fam. We ain't found no bitches, fam. What the fuck? But where this bonfire night display is going on, it's round day part, and we go to the round day sixth form. So when I say to you, the school building is literally round day. It's like made up of fields in it, and they split the fields up with roads and shit. And then like on one of the fields, there's a school building. That's the school building. So we like, yo, we right here by our sixth form, you know, fam. That's mad, like, and we're walking up to it thinking, because there's like this big iron gate and shit. Like, it looks like one of them fucking Buckingham Palace gates with all the shit on it and that, like. But we walking up thinking it's going to be closed. And we're like, you know what? It would be so mad to just, like, go run up around that shit, like, while it's, like, fucking nighttime and that. And we all just laughing about it. But as we walk up to the gate's open, fam. And we're like, oh shit, the gate's open, bro. And it's like, yo, should we go in, fam? Like, should we? And at first, man, are like, yo, I don't know, you know, fam. It's like, nah, bro, like, yo, the gate's open, fam. Like, there's no one here. There's no one here, bro. So we're like, fuck it, bro, let's go. Run up, and again, where the gate is, it's like this long, I don't want to say it's a drive, but it's like a long pathway that cars can come down. But when, you know, school times and school opening, school closing, like the kids will walk down there and shit. But like, it's like a long sort of path, just kind of walking at a normal pace. It might take you 5-10 minutes to get down to the actual school building. But we're like, fuck it, let's go. So we run down this fucking shit like we Naruto fucking shinobi ninjas and shit. We running down this shit, bro. And we gas because like, oh shit, we here at nighttime, there's nobody here. In my mind, yeah, I'm thinking of it like, you know, them Disney Channel shows that used to come on like fucking like Recess and shit like that, where there'd be something where they're in the school at night and you in the school and you're walking around, you got a flashlight and you're trying, like, in my mind, I think that's gonna happen. I think, like, yo, we're gonna fucking, one of these doors is gonna be open and we're just gonna go into school and just go around it at night and it's gonna be fucking just mad in it. So we get up to the school, try the main door, main door's locked. Alright, say nothing, don't fuck with it too much, you don't want to set no alarm and that, cool, whatever. Go over to the side door, try a side door's locked. Oh, yeah, you, man. You know when we do like PE and shit, yeah? There's like one of the sports stores. Let's try the sports store. Go try the sports store. You got to walk around the side of the building to get there. We try the sports store. Nothing. And again, we like in the school premises now. So where we are is kind of like the cafeteria is to our left. There's a main school building like a 3-minute walk away to our right. There's a smaller school building just behind us, sort of shit. So we in the shit now. But we tried the sports store was locked. Alright, fuck, bro. That shit, man. Bro, I thought we were getting to school and shit. But in front of us, there's like this high wall. And again, you see it every day when you're in school and shit, but there's like this high wall. The wall may be 7 feet. I want to stretch and say 8 feet, but I'll say 7. And it starts as simply as this. We was like, yo, you, man. Any you, man, think you can jump to the top of that wall? And man, they were like, bro, fuck that. Nah, I can do it, bro. Like, nah, I can do it. So one man try it, he can't get there. Next man try it, he can't get there. I try it, bro. Oh, fuck, I can't get there. Man, I'm trying it. We're doing that for about like 3 or 4 minutes. And then I think it was Josh Edwards. Or it might have been Daniel, because Daniel was like a year or 2 older than us. So he didn't go our 6th form. But he was with us because he had a whip and shit. Do you get what I mean? So he literally like drove up and like we was doing our thing. Daniel got up, he sat on the top of the wall like, oh shit, you, man. I got over the wall, you, man. And we're like, oh fuck, bro, nah, fuck that. We gotta get on there, bro. Eventually, one by one, bro, we make up to the top of the wall. At some point, Daniel might help a man up, pull a man up or something, but like we all get to the top of the wall and shit. We're like, oh shit, bro, we're at the top of the wall. And we look behind us now. And there's fucking like houses and there's a path and there's like a whole shit behind us. But from the perspective of being in the school walls, you can't see none of this shit because the wall is so high in it. You can't see none of that shit. It just looks like there's trees behind it. Do you get what I mean? But as we're looking back, it's like, oh shit, bro, there's like houses and shit, bro. Like, and I can't remember who said the idea, but it's like, yo, fam, should we just like fucking just go and look around and shit? And whatever the fuck happened, was like, yo, let's do it, fam. Bro. One sec. Elevator music for you. Oh, one sec. The OnlyMans podcast will be back shortly. Make sure to like and subscribe the OnlyMans podcast on YouTube. Thank you for making the time to listen to the OnlyMans podcast. He's older than the sound clip too. All right, we back. Right. So we see these houses behind us. We look and we're like, oh shit, all right, cool. Fuck it. Let's just go and see what's behind here, innit? Like, fuck it, we go. So we all jump down the back side of the wall now. So really, not in that kind of way, but this is like, you know, in video games, you get to a checkpoint. It's like, all right, you can't go back now. Like, from this point, you can only deal with what's in front of you. Like, this wall is too high to try and jump back up. Like, the path that we landed on when we jumped over the wall is like a mad muddy path and shit. So you can't really get like a decent run up and run back up it, you know what I mean? Like, the school ground was much higher up the wall than the path that we landed on and shit. Because this might be a different time, but I feel like I recall when I landed, I thought I sprained my ankle. but then I was fine, sort of thing. But anyway, we land now and we're like, oh shit, bro, like, what the fuck, where are we, bro? Because we've never been this side around there, because we've never had no need to, because we like there's like the back gardens, and there's like a path down the back side of the gardens alongside all the houses in it. And it's pitch black, bro. So we're like, oh shit, bro, we got to try to get back to a main road, innit? And then we're like, should we go down the path? And it's like, nah, bro, because it's just pitch black. But like, you look left, it's dark, pitch black. You look right, it's dark, pitch black. You look in front of you, there's houses and there are some lights and shit. So it's like, all right, bro, those are houses, innit? So let's go that way so we can get back to a main road. If there's houses, there's going to be a way to the main road, innit? Cool. So we're running, but we gassed and we lit and shit. So we run into one garden, bro. There's like kids' toys, because these are fucking, again, for people that don't live like in the north of England and shit. If you're from London and that, this might sound mad expensive, but you've got gardens that are literally like 25 feet in length, just going upwards, bro. Just like a rectangular shape, like just a length of grass. And like, white people in their communities, they have their kids and their kids play there, and sometimes they can't even see the kid from their yard, their kitchen window. They can't even see the kid. The garden is so long, but the kid down the bottom of there. And around this time, like, you could kind of do that in it. So we running through this garden. There's like kid toys and shit. Daniel decided he's gonna fucking Ronaldo, World Cup Brazil Ronaldo, just boot one of these kid toys, fam. Just booted it, fam. And we all laughing like, oh shit, bro, you're mad, bro. And then someone else got one up it, like get another kid, like see like a little, another kid's like play toys, like the little light rubber balls. Man, get the rubber ball, kick that up in the air and shit. Like, it's just, we just doing shit now, innit? So we fucking running up. But what we realised, as you go further up, there's another set of houses in front of that laid out the same way. Because we thought, you get to these houses, get to the front of these houses, main road. We get to the front of these houses, it's like, oh shit, there's another set of yards just like this with a long garden in front of that. Oh shit, cool, all right. So now we're not even running straight. We like, sometimes we cut into like the garden on the right. We run over to like right. Cool. Run like left to, like, we just running all over the gaff. We laughing, we joking, we trying to tackle each other. Just dumb shit in it. Get into one garden, bro. There's like a trampoline in the garden. And now I have to tell you, my guy Drizz, yeah, he's like a big guy. Like, again, he do like his gym shit and shit as well now. But like, if we were 16, Drizz was probably around 18 or 17 going on 18. So he was like our age, but he was a bit older. But he was like a bigger guy. Like, he was like the big guy in our group. Do you get what I mean? Like, if we ever got a roll somewhere, just roll with Drizz, bro, because he's huge, bro. Like, niggas ain't gonna try him. Like, he's huge. Like, he's just a big guy. You know what I mean? But he was like a kid in his heart, in it. Like, that's my brother as well. You know what? Air horns for Drizz, bro. I love him, you know, bro. I have not spoken to him properly in time, but sometimes we touch base every so often. Like, yeah, that's my guy, fam. I got a lot of love for him, man. But we got into one garden. There's a trampoline, like a kid's trampoline in it. This big fucker, bro, run into the garden with a trampoline. He jumping up and down on this kid's trampoline. The trampoline is barely holding on for life, bro. He going ham, jumping on it, on the arse, jump on it, back on his leg. Like, he going crazy in it. And we all laughing and shit, but the man are like, yo, shush, bro, shush, fam. Like, yo, there's people here, fam. Like, yo, shush, bro, you not going on mad, innit? Fucking, he eventually gets off the trampoline, but then we see one of the back porch lights come on. It's like somebody's heard the noise and put the light on to see what the fuck's going on in it. So it's like, oh shit, you man, boot it, fam. So say in the garden that we in, and you have to imagine it like, think about like piano keys, how they're like rectangles that are all aligned perfectly next to each other. Like, that's how the yards and the gardens were set up. So say the black keys would be the yard and the white keys would be the garden in it. Like, that's kind of how the layout of it was. And it would be maybe like 5 to 10 houses across. So the garden that we in, the particular rectangle garden that we in, adjacent to the house, it was like the house to the right of that was the one that turned the porch lights on. So we booted it to the left in it. We were like, yo, move, fam, because we running fucking in the meantime. Like Dizzy D picked up one, like this kid's tricycle. It had this like a pink tricycle, like a pony or something on it. Picked it up, he's running with it, bro. Someone else picked up like a football or something. Like we just picking up shit. Because again, all these people probably have kids and shit. And we just picking up these kids' toys in the garden and we just taking them, bro. Fuck it, just grab some shit. Because now everybody's grabbing shit. So just grab some shit and just run with it, bro. We get to the main road. Fucking, we go. We get to like a sort of main road, but it's like a kind of cul-de-sac thing. So Dizzy D got this little tricycle, him with his big ass, he trying to ride this tricycle, but obviously it's jokes in it because he can't ride it and shit. He's too big for the shit, so we laughing and shit. And fucking, who was it? I can't remember who it was. It might have been, you know what, I'm not going to snitch because that's dry snitching. I'm not going to do that. But one of the people in the group, all of this is dry snitching really. But it's fine, man. It's, again, for the court's sake, this is all entertainment. Do you get what I mean? This is all hyperbole. This is all fictional content created for the sake of entertainment. If this is ever used in a court proceeding or a court hearing. So we kind of got to like the bottom of a cul-de-sac. And obviously you got like, you know, the bins outside the house and shit. And one of the G's like kicked over a bin and all the rubbish and shit come flying out of it. We all laughing and shit. Oh, that's mad. So now we all start kicking down the bins and like grabbing the bins and dashing them down the road and shit. Like we fucking just wilding in it. Dizzy D pick up one of the bins, bro, and dash it into a garden. But the window is near the garden, fam. So it's like it kind of, the bin hit the ledge the window was on, but didn't hit the window. But obviously it made a big noise and shit. And we're like, bro, what the fuck, bro? You almost broke that front window. Bro, man, boot it. Like when push comes to shove, it was just like, yo, man, run, bro. Everybody run from. That's like some native, like black and melanated shit in it. Shit, push comes to shove, bro. Just run from. Just fucking run for your life, bro. But yo, boot it, bro. Because he almost dashed a fucking wheelie bin into their living room, bro. Like running it. So, one sec. So we running again about 3 or 4 minutes. We just full sprinting, bro. Well, we kind of laughing and shit on the way. We get far enough away where we're not in that street anymore. We're not thing, and we kind of like on the backside around there now. So we're like, all right. Although we've not been this side, I recognize that side, so we know where we are in it. Because again, we were kind of like, oh shit, let's just get back because we might have fucked up. But once we kind of got to a safe spot, we're like, oh shit, you man. That was kind of lit in it. Like, that was kind of, yo, should we go and do that for a bit, bro? Like, should we just go and do that, bro? Like, my brother, we went around causing havoc, bro. We would go, like, literally just down the street, kicking off the wind mirrors, bro. We would just go down the street. We just kicked off the wind mirrors, bro. Just kick them off cars, bro. Just any car parked in the street, we would just lick off the wind mirror, bro. Like, we didn't go as far as to breaking into cars and nothing like that. But it was like dashing wheelie bins into gardens, fucking kicking over. Like, we were just causing havoc for no reason because it was fun. Because it was fun, bro. I remember we did that. And then, because Dizzy D had his car in it. Because again, he's older than us, so he's got like his mum's car and that. So he's like, yo, you man, let's jump in the whip, bro. Let's jump in the whip. So we're like, yeah, bet. Jumped in the whip, bro. And he's just speeding up and down the main road, round there, road, just speeding up and down the road, bro, just doing skirts and shit, just doing mad shit in it. We're like, yeah, lit, my nigga. Fucking, and then as he was doing that, every so often he'd be like, all right, yo, chill, because we're doing too much in it, so chill, all right, let's just drive normal. Then after a bit, he'd be like, all right, fuck it, come on, you know what I mean, that sort of shit. We did that again for about 10-15 minutes, and he kind of like parked up around like this side bit. It was kind of like, it wasn't really somewhere you park, but it could fit the car, and this was like a Ford Mondeo. So he's like parked it up kind of like just, all right, we've been doing a lot. Let me just park this up somewhere quiet and shit. Cool. So we in the car, we just chilling. We all like, oh yo, nigga, this is sick, bro. All this time, bro, we ain't text the girls, we ain't checked in the girls, we not even thinking about them, bro. We just like, oh my nigga, this was so sick, this was so lit, this was so dope. Da, 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 da. Fucking Josh got out the whip to take a piss in it. Because again, we just lit like, fuck it, bro, I'm just gonna piss here, bro, fuck it. He got out the whip. So I remember I was sat in the back seat of the whip behind the drivers. Dizzy was driving. I think Jordan was in the front seat because again, Dizzy and Danielle, who's Jordan's sister, they had a ting. So him and Jordan is like us, not my brother-in-law, but like going out with his older sister in it. So like he's my guy. So Jordan sat in the front and shit. Me and Josh was in the back. Josh got to take a piss. I'm just sat in the back of the whip, bro, doing whatever I'm doing. I look up, bro, look through the fucking the windscreen and that. Josh taking a piss, and the two Fed officers just walk round the corner. But at this point, I'm in because we only stopped here because Josh was taking a piss in it. So Dizzy D's at the wheel. I'm behind him. Jordan's in the whip, and we're just in there chatting and shit. He's taking a piss outside, bro, and two Fed officers walk around the corner. Diz literally, bro. If you listen to my music, I've got a song called Animus Freestyle. ANIMUS Drizzy Francis with a V, not an A. DRIZZY But I've got a song called Animus Freestyle. I talk about it in that, but literally, we see like I don't even see them at first. Like I'm looking I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not really thinking. And Dizzy D is driving it. He goes, "Oh shit!" And so I look up and I see the two Fed officers in it. He literally, bro, starts the car, the engine's going. He literally, bro, hits reverse, spins the wheel, bro. Literally reverse spins it round like a left turn in reverse, in it. Spins it round, puts it in gear, spins it right back, fam, and zooms off, bro. I literally remember looking through the window and just seeing Josh there looking at these two officers like, oh shit, and just zoomed off, bro. We left our brethren. You get me? Like literally, he just saw the feds. He knew he was doing bullshit and it was his mum's car. Do you get me? So he was just like, oh shit, I'm out, bro. Like literally just spun it back and zoomed off, bro. So obviously me and Jordan are in the whip like, bro, what the fuck, fam? Yo, what the fuck? Oh shit, bro, nah, this is mad. And he's like, bro, nah, I just listen, bro, it's my mum's car, bro. I need to get this car away, bro. We like one of you, man, bell him in it, like bell him, bro, like da 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 da. We're trying to call him. No answer. Fuck. Yo, you man, have any of you man heard from the girls? Oh shit, bro, we've not even checked in on the girl. Fuck's sake, we've not even checked on the girls, bro. Like literally, we might have left them about 7:30, 8ish. It's at least 11:30 going on 12 now. All right, no. It's at least 10:30 going on 11 going on. It's at least 10:30 going on 11 going on 11:30. So we've left them for at least 2 hours and a bit, at least. Oh shit, bro, we've not even checked on the girls. Oh shit. Yo, Jordan, call your sister. Da 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 da. I think he tried to bell one time, didn't get through. And then I think he belled again and got through. And the girls were fucking furious, bro. What the fuck? You guys have left us all this time. We've just been here. We've just been walking around. It's late. People are leaving. We're just here by ourselves. There's hardly anyone here. How the fuck you guys just left us? And we just in the car like, oh shit. Bro, we fucked up. Oh shit. Bro, so Jordan's on the phone to like the girls. I'm trying to call Josh in the back seat. Because again, we of an age, we got like mobile phones and shit. Like, I'm trying to bell him in the back seat, like, bro, pick up the phone, fam. And Dizzy D is just driving, trying to get away from the shit. At one point, like, Fed, like, there was a Fed car behind us in it. This is no cap. I'm not making this up. Like, next time I go and see Dizzy D, I'm going to record the conversations when we speak about this. He can tell you, like, this is no cap in it. But at one point, there was a Fed car. And I remember we all got fucking shook, bro. Because, like, oh shit, bro, Feds is chasing us. Da-da-da-da-da. And he was just right, left, like the Kendrick Lamar song, bro. Like, he was just turning corners, da-da-da-da. And God bless us, whatever the fuck it was, he lost them. I don't know how the fuck he did that shit, but he lost them, bro. He lost the Feds, bro. So again, we in this whip, like he doing that again, that lasts about 10, 15 minutes. However the fuck he did it. To this day, I'd have to speak to that nigga and ask him if you remember. But to this day, I don't know how he did that shit, but he lost them in it. And it was just like, he parked up somewhere. It was like, bro, oh shit, fam. Fucking hell, bro. What the fuck is going on? Da-da-da-da-da. So again, 10, 15 minutes have passed. And then I think Jordan tried Josh. And he's like, fuck it, I'm going to try Josh it. I'm going to just see like if we can bell him. Belled him. And he's answered, yo, bro, you all right, bro? You okay? Da-da-da-da. It's like, yeah, nah. I'm cool in it. I'm cool. Like, I'm all right. Like, I'm with the girls in it. I'm with the girls. Like, I'm all right. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, shit, bro. All right, cool. Say nothing. Like, where are you lot now? Oh, we by the clock tower. We by the clock tower around there. All right, shit. All right, cool. We coming now, innit? We coming now. Like, we coming now. Da-da-da-da-da. Fucking, we still shook up. We still like, bro, what the fuck? D still shook to drive on the road because he thinks Feds is trying to look for him and shit. Da-da-da-da-da. So it's like, all right, cool. Drive it near the clock tower. Park it up just somewhere. Park it, and then we'll just walk to them, innit? So he parks it up. We walk it to them. Josh is with the girls and that. And they so mad and da-da-da-da-da. But you can tell that Josh has been talking to them and he's taken the brunt of a lot of their fury. Like, you can tell that they probably screamed on him so they didn't scream on us as much. You know what I mean? But we were just saying to them, yo, all right, you know what? We're so sorry. You're right. You're right. And we're so sorry. Listen, please just don't tell like the mums and dads about this. Like, just don't fuck this up. Because if you tell them we're not going to be able to do anything, you won't be able to do anything and we won't be able to do anything. Just don't tell them about this. Like, you guys are all right. They would, you know what I mean? Again, they kind of just been left. And as a girl, that can be scary, you know what I mean? Certain weird people walking past you and shit, that could be weird, you get what I mean? Because it was a group of them, I think it helped. But like, it was just, you get it, do you know what I mean? So we were just like, yo, you're so right and we're so sorry. Like, we fucked up. Like, this tonight has been mad, innit? So like, just please, just don't tell the mums and dads. And again, begrudgingly, they were like, all right. Because I think at some point, some of the parents probably called them and asked them how they were and shit and could hear that things weren't, you know what I mean, quite copacetic. But when it came down to it, they held it down in it. They were like, oh, no, it was cool. They just went off for a bit, but it was all right, type of thing. Do you get what I mean? It was like that. Like they didn't lie, but they didn't really say what happened. It was like, oh yeah, like, it was a bit annoying because they just kind of went off a little bit, but, you know, it was fine. They came back and so that they held it down and shit. But I remember towards the end of that shit, because again, Drizz had parked up the whip and he parked up maybe, again, I keep saying 10, 15 minutes, but maybe about 10, 15 minutes away from, 15, 20 minutes away from where they were, but it was about 5, 10 minutes away from where like the field, the park began. So he parked it up again, you know what I mean, a nice shaded area and stuff. And he's like, all right, the whip will be cool here. Like, if anything, I'll come and get it tomorrow, innit? Like, I'll just tell mum that I just parked it and I was tired and I'll get it tomorrow. Cool. We in the field, we running around. Like, we're like, oh shit, all right, cool, we back. We in the field. We used to go down that way and we'll get to the girls. As we go in there, I see all the lot from sixth form and shit. I see all Jess and Bethany and all the white boys out with them and shit, and then the girl out with them and shit. But like, at this point, bro, we like, oh shit, we left the girls. Feds just chased us. Fucking, we vandalized all this shit. What if they kind of find, like, we got all this shit going through us, but then the girl, like, the sixth form girl, they here, the white bitches, they here, bro. The same Jess girl, because, again, not to sound crude and shit. But I remember when I said to them, oh, yo, like, you got a bonfire night. I was like, yeah, I was like, all right, cool, yeah, I'm going to fuck you against the tree, innit? She's like, oh, yeah, like that, if you fuck me against the tree. Like, just kiddie bullshit in it. So, but again, I see her, she there, she's like, "Oh, how you doing? You alright?" Like, she's like, "Oh, like, it's nice to see you, but I've got all this adrenaline running through me. I've got all this shit on my mind, like all this shit's going on, and so I just awkwardly, I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, there's a tree over there in it, and she's kind of like, "Oh yeah, lol, ha ha ha." It's just not. It's not what's gonna happen, obviously, in it. So it's kind of like we kind of do the little bullshit talking with them and shit a little bit, but it's like, yo, we have to go in it. Like, we have to go. We have to go. I cool. We go again. We get down to the girls and shit. They so mad, bro. They cussing us out. Da, 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 da. We just saying to them, please, just don't tell mums and dads about this. Like, listen, if you say that this happens, yeah, not only are we gonna be locked down, but y'all definitely can't do shit because they're gonna be like, you got left alone and you was vulnerable. They're not gonna let you guys do anything, bro. You can't do nothing. So I know it's fucked up, and I know you want to snitch on us. I know you want to grass us up, but if you grass us up, it's gonna fuck you all over. So listen, we so sorry. We're gonna make this up to you, but just do not tell them that this happened in it. And again, like, they held it down. They held it down when it came down to it again. Because I think, like I said, I think that at some point, some parents probably called and said, like, yo, is everything okay? Like, you guys all right? And they would have probably, in their frustrated state, would have tried to cover, because they ultimately understand if they say these guys are fucked off for 2 hours and we don't know where they are and they haven't messaged us and they haven't called us and not responding to anything, they knew it would have been like alarm bell. So they would have tried to hold it down, but would have been somewhat clearly distressed. So it was like, yo, like, please just don't grass us up in it. They held it down. But I remember they held that over us for so long, fam. They were like, I remember one of the chill spots, again, when I was in sixth form, my yard was a chill spot, but not everybody could come to my yard. Like, meaning, by after this point, when me and Nadia started and stuff, like, she would come to her yard because her parents would let her, and then obviously the man would come and shit, and then maybe like Lee would come because she goes with Josh, whatever. But like, if you just want to be able to link up with everybody and they go to a yard where no parents will argue, it was always Josh's yard because his dad is the fucking pastor. His dad was the elder. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, if we're gonna link up, oh yo, Friday, no doing it on the weekend, yeah, let's go to Josh's, fam. And like us, man, we might play like PlayStation or whatever, and then because we link up, the girls would link up. Do you get what I mean? So it was just a natural sort of link up thing. And I remember like a couple of link up after that, they were just like, yo, we so mad at you lot. Like, we so mad at you lot. We so cross. We so annoyed with you lot. Like, you lot have pissed us off to the maximum, fam. Like, do you know what I mean? They were not happy about that shit at all. At all, at all, at all. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, that was a mad thing, fam. That was an absolute mad thing, fam. I remember just running around it, but I'll tell you this, bro, it was exhilarating as shit. It was exhilarating, bro. Like, just the freedom of youth, innit? Like, the freedom of ignorance to consequences, meaning we were just doing that shit because it was fun. We didn't want to hurt nobody or kill nobody or do any harm to anybody. We just wanted to do young, reckless shit because it was fun. And God bless us, no severe consequences came from that shit. Like, Dizzy D, the day after, he went and got the whip and drove it back to his mum's yard. Fucking, there were no knocks on the door saying your son did, like, there was nothing, like, just nothing kind of came of it, in it. Like, God bless us. But like, it was just, I remember that shit as just so exhilarating and free. And when I think about like feeling free at points in my life, like, that was definitely one of the points where it's just like, yo, this is just complete freedom. We just causing havoc and shit in the name of having fun. Because it's fun to destroy shit. And it's like, yeah, it's mad. It's mad, man. It's mad, innit? Like, how long has this been going for? 2:23. 2:23 isn't bad. 2 hours half solo, no voice notes, no one putting in. You know what I mean? Last week you was going crazy with the voice notes and shit. This week you're not really saying nothing. I seen Ultra Melanin tapped in and he left no voice notes. You know what I mean? I've literally just been talking and shit. So 2.5 hours. I'm giving myself a round of applause for that. Nah, because it's got me thinking through like that time of my life now. It's got me thinking through that shit. I think on one of the podcasts, I'll definitely get into like the Nadia shit. I think I've spoken about it a little bit before, but that'll be a great segment to get down. Should I do it now? No. It's like I kind of want to, but I kind of can't be asked. I feel like I exhausted a lot of my energy doing the bonfire night and the context around it and shit. Like I kind of feel like I exhausted myself. So because like the Nadia shit I would have to start with that. I'd have to start with that to give the full context of why it's that. Just because in a very small nutshell, like the Nadia chapter of my life, I guess in a like anime, like Dragon Ball Z, it would be like the Nadia saga. I guess that's what they call it. You know, like Dragon Ball Z, there's like the Saiyan saga and the Frieza saga and the Android saga and the Cell saga and like the Margin saga. You know what I mean? Like in that same way, I guess that part of my life would be the Nadia saga, and that in itself would require a pod to itself where I can like really not only focusing on explaining the context and the nuance, but like the same way I've gone on different tangents, but I've brought it back today. Like I would need to be able to be in that sort of bag. And yeah, I feel like I've definitely not drained my energy in that sense, but it's a whole thing to get into that I'm not gonna get into now. But that was definitely a big part of my life and has definitely had very direct and indirect influences on the person I am today, like for real. And I guess to be honest with you, like that's with all of the women in my life, like my mother, my sister, my sisters, the woman in my life right now, my wife, you know what I mean? Like it's yeah, all of the women that have impacted me on a very high degree. But I think that's what women are supposed to do. Like, I don't think that as a man you should have, let me not say should have is the wrong term. As a man, I think it's important to have impactful relationships with women, even if the impact is negative. As long as you're not aiming for that, if that just kind of happens, then there's lessons to learn in it. But it's like, I do think that the relationships that men have with women should be impactful. Whether you learn a good lesson or a bad lesson, there should be an impact. I think just the way that a lot of young niggas were brought up, like UK, US, wherever the fuck, like young niggas just brought up like get money and fuck bitches in it, like get money and get hoes. And as young men, particularly as young black men, we have been conditioned to think that our bodies mean very little. That's profound. I didn't even like really think of it like that before, but there's a very heavy conditioning that has taught young black men that their bodies do not matter, whether that's in terms of sexual exploit, pornography, all that sort of shit, music videos, media, all that sort of shit. Whether it's literally on a slave plantation where you can get killed for looking at the looking at master wrong, you know what I mean? Or if you run away, you get your foot cut off or whatever the fuck, like where you see people that look like you and have your melanin and shade, like those people are heavily persecuted for the very minor of things. Where you can go onto Google and you can type in lynching pictures or just lynchings, and there are pictures of young black men being hung from a rope till they die, and white men and women and even children around them look like pointing at the body like, yo, look at what the fuck we did, bro. Like pointing at the shit like it's Mickey Mouse in Disneyland, bro. Like there's been a heavy conditioning that young black bodies do not matter. Young black bodies have no value or very to little value. And the best thing that you can do with a young black body is prostitute it for as much financial or societal gain as possible. And I think that a heavy part of our conditioning is to that. I think that, speaking for myself, young black men are so heavily sexualized and are taught such hypersexuality, meaning all the women both in and out of your community making unwarranted advances towards you, making remarks and comments to you that aren't appropriate for an adult to make to a child, where an older woman will see you as a 15, 16-year-old boy and say to you, ooh, hello, handsome. Ooh, if I was so many years younger, I would be all over you. Like, because imagine that the other way around, bro. Imagine a grown man saying to a young girl, ooh, if I was so many years younger, I'd be all on. Like, they're going to put that nigga under the jailhouse, innit? But the double standard that we live in, and double standards exist for a reason. Like, I do believe that there is a difference between a man domestic violent. I can't even say this shit, bro. I'll get rid of it, guys. I can't say this shit. I think there's a difference between a domestic violence situation where a man hits a woman and a woman hits a man. I believe in a lot of those occurrences, there is a vast difference, although in a lot of those occurrences, a lot of the same patterns may exist. Meaning, just if you read it in a newspaper, let's take someone random, just someone random. Let's just David Beckham and Victoria Beckham. So this is not true. This is not. I'm not breaking no news. I'm saying a hypothetical situation, not even allegedly, because it's not true. I'm just giving you a situation. But say you wake up tomorrow and the headline is David Beckham hits Victoria Beckham in the head with a lamp in domestic argument. Imagine what that would do to the news cycle compared to Victoria Beckham hits David Beckham in the head with a lamp after domestic argument. Now, they would both have an impact. I'm not saying that Victoria hitting him, people wouldn't care. But I'm saying, imagine if you woke up and the headline was David Beckham hit his wife in the head with a lamp after a domestic argument. Imagine if that was the headline. Every news site across the world would be shut down, bro. Like, that would be the only thing going on, fam. COVID wouldn't exist. The war with Ukraine and Russia wouldn't exist. The political parties and all the shit that they do wouldn't exist. Racism wouldn't exist. Meg and Tory lanes wouldn't exist. Like, none of this other shit would matter if that was the headline tomorrow. And the reason for that is because of the patriarchy that's existed long before you or I were ever born. And again, this is a similar concept that I try to explain to like white people when we have these conversations. Because a lot of white people will say things like, well, that was a long time ago and I didn't do that. I didn't have any part of that. Like, I wasn't, I would have said no to that. And yeah. But ultimately, what a lot of white people fail to try to understand is that you live with the legacy of skin color the same way that I live with the legacy of skin color. Meaning, you are judged in society as a white person the same way that I am judged in society as a black person. And if you look at any kind of other ethnic background in the world, they kind of like localize to what they are. So like you've got Asian, but then within that you've got like Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Taiwanese, fucking Pakistani, Bengali, Iranian, like whatever. But generally speaking, between black and white people, they don't really get into that off first contact. If you just bump into somebody in the street and it's a black dude or it's a white dude, you don't think, oh, he's Irish or he's Spanish or he's Slovakian, and you don't think, oh, he's African or he's Jamaican or he's Zimbabwean or he's Kittitian or he's Cameroonian. You don't think that. It's just like, oh, that's a black guy and that's a white guy. And black and white people exist with the legacy of that skin color because of the shit that happened before us. And what a lot of white guys don't like to accept is, yes, you may not have actively been there as the shit, the terrible, terrible shit was going on blatantly, but you ultimately benefit from the legacy of the skin color, even if you don't feel like you do. Because that's another pushback I've got from a lot of white people. Oh, you think all white people are just rich and their life is easy? You think my life is easy just because I'm white? My life is shit, mate. That's a lot of pushback that I get. And what I found a lot of people I've spoke to fail to forget is that I understand that, bro. Do you think that me, as thoughtful and introspective as I am, do you think that for a second I think your life is easy because you're white? No. I don't think your life is easy, bro. But what you don't understand is, as fucked up as your shit is, at least you not me, bro. In this world that we live in, at least you not me, fam. And the white guy said to you, yeah, but if a black guy get killed by the police, it's all over the news. But more white people get killed by the police than and that's not in the news because no one cares about that. And you know what, bro? You know what? You're right. You know what's fucked up about life? Is that you're right. Some white dude get killed by the police. Nobody give a shit about that. That's not sexy in the news, but racism is sexy. And you want to know why racism is sexy? It's because long before you or I were alive, there was an entire business built on the back and the blatant back of exploiting somebody of a different racial background to you. It was done across the world. And the people that we see have profited from that most in this modern day and age is Caucasian men. That's what it is, bro. Listen, if I remember there was like a game on iPhone, like early iPhone days, and it was like vegetable versus zombies or something stupid like that. And it was like you could be the vegetables or you could be the zombies. And the vegetables have their strengths and their weaknesses, and the zombies have their strengths and their weaknesses. And the whole thing was like trying to use your strength to get their weakness, but they're going to use their strength to get your weakness. Ultimately, whichever side you picked, if you win, then you win. If you lose, then you lose. In the same way, because of the shit that's been done by the forefathers of Caucasian people, in the modern day and age, bro, y'all won, bro. Like, it really is remarkable that there aren't black terrorists. And before anyone goes crazy, what I mean is people who directly take influence from the direct routes to blackness, to history, to lineage. People who look like the slave trade and how that happened and the ancestors and all sort of stuff. Like, the jihadis do war in the name of Allah, where they're taught or indoctrinated, however you want to view it, that these unholy people are incorrectly persecuting our people, and our job is to fight in this holy war against them. We might die over this shit, we might not make it, but if you fight for this shit, when you go to the next life, you're gonna be blessed, dog. And when you begin to think about things like fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, onward dimensions, a plane that exists above the spectrum of life that we know, something beyond the paradigm that we live in, you can begin to speculate about those things. But I think that anything you can get somebody to believe, they'll believe it. Religions, cultures, languages, anything that money, anything that you can get a mass of people to believe in becomes real. Like, you speak reality into life, meaning somebody one day decided, I'm going to make this thing that's like a token, and this is going to be worth something, and I'm going to give this to you, and you're going to give me some shit. Because then when you give this to somebody else, they're going to give you some shit. And then when they give it to somebody, somebody's going to give them some shit. It's like magic, innit? It's like we have this thing called money that's like this thing that's you can touch in the form of a note or a coin, but then it's just numbers on the screen. But then it's like, but because so many people believe in it, it's real. If we all decided tomorrow that green was blue and blue was green, and we looked up to the sky and said the sky is green, and everybody collectively believed that and kept that belief system, 20, 30 years, it would be fact that the sky is green. That would be a fact. Do you see how all of it works? Like, all of it is interconnected in the sense of, like, as a conscious collective, we birth reality in front of us. But as a conscious collective or an unconscious collective, we're usually manipulated to birth reality in the way that somebody else wants it done. Meaning somebody will put certain systems in place so that people grow up a certain way, so that they do certain things, so they continue to perpetuate certain shit. The prison industry, the prison system as a business is lucrative, fam. But in order for you to have a prison business, you need people that need to go to prison. How do you create that? You create conditions for certain communities and certain people that will, by the mathematics, more than likely put them in a position to have to go to prison, and we need somewhere to keep them. And if we keep perpetuating things throughout culture and society that fall with that, then it's easy. Gangster rap. If we can get a bunch of these people from these deprived neighborhoods, give them money, make them look flashy, make them look this, make them look that, make them cool, this, that, the third, and have them perpetuate a message of destruction to their own people, so their people think that destruction is the way to prosperity. The Bible says, and the Bible is an allegory, the Bible says good will be bad and bad will be good. People are conditioned to think, yo, I got to get on this drill shit, you know what I mean, the ops and the this and the that and all that sort of bullshit. And it's like, it's a lie. It's not a real thing. That no, that's wrong. It's a real thing, but the manipulation is that you think that's what you're supposed to aim for. So a lot of men aim to be that, and you live reality into being, so then you become that. Which is why a lot of people from those sort of deprived childhoods and stuff, the ones that take certain paths become the greatest that we've ever seen in certain instances, because the line is like that, but you have to be willing to take that path, you know what I mean? And it's like, myself included, we're not always willing to do that, man. And I think it's at least about being self-aware enough to know that you're not willing to do that, while also trying to become the best version of yourself that you can be, so that you can go on to do stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see how long this has been going for. 2:43. 15 minutes. I think 3 hours would be a good wrap point. I don't know why I spoke to you niggas about. Let me go on the tweets. Let's see what they're saying. Arsenal have submitted a new bid for Mudryk in the last few hours. Guys, London is the ghetto. How can a girl request a song from the DJ? The DJ said no, and she spat in his face. Wow, that's crazy. Let's see what's going on here. Chelsea fans, go out on loan for 6 months. It will help your blood pressure. I guess that's funny. Saying you will do something gives your brain a very similar chemical reaction to actually doing it. So saying you'll do things makes you feel like you've done them. If you feel like you've done something, you probably won't actually do it. Make sure you understand this. It's a good tweet. It's a good tweet. No. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't wanna drag the pod more than it needs to be. More than it needs to be dragged. I always say when I feel like I got to the point where I don't really want to say anything else, then it's a good place to end it. So what I will say is big up to everyone that's listened to this. If you're listening to this on stereo, then big up. If you're listening to this on YouTube, then big up. And if you listen to this anywhere else, tell me how you did that shit, because I want to, if there's a new way to get some shit out to y'all, then I want to fucking make sure I can get some shit out to y'all, you know what I mean? So tell me how you did that shit, if it's not either of those. But yeah, this is episode 86 of the OnlyMans podcast. Again, I'm going to say a massive shout out to my guy Will. You know what I mean? We love Will. You know, we just always love with Will. Again, obviously he's not been here on this episode and stuff, but we are gonna reconnect shortly, you know what I mean, and give you guys the content that y'all love and shit. Again, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. You can literally go onto YouTube, type in OnlyMans, OnlyMans. It's one word, type in OnlyMans, and you'll see the shit come up like the logo on here in it. Subscribe to that shit, go and listen to the old episodes and stuff. Yeah, man, on to bigger and better things. Big up to 2023. I hope it's a good year for everybody. I appreciate y'all making the time to listen to the shit. Ultramelon, I seen you tapped in and stuff. Bit disappointed with no voice notes. Little disappointed, but it's alright. We'll make a way in it. We'll make a way. But for now, we'll see y'all next week. I'll see y'all next week. You know what I mean? I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, man. Peace.